that official guidance from the White House or the president. Usually when you hear that kind of language, you'll no longer deal with someone. That's about as close as you can get in diplomatic speak to saying that they're almost on their way home.
Fox's Rich Edson at the State Department. A spokesman for outgoing British Prime Minister Theresa May has called the leak unfortunate, but that the ambassador still has her full support, and that it's important for diplomats to be able to provide honest assessments. A mixed day on Wall Street. The Dow down 22 points at the closing bell, but the NASDAQ higher. This is Fox News.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it?
I'll take a book club.
Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Hafaday, this is Congressman Nicholas. Our office is currently visiting our villages, providing contact information for our office and taking any inquiries we may be of service with. All vehicles and staff are appropriately identified for your safety. Please feel free to let our constituent outreach team know how we can be of service to you, and thank you for your kindness.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the Office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
The death of an Indiana toddler on a cruise ship remains under investigation, but a family attorney now says the death was preventable and not the grandfather's fault. Investigators in Puerto Rico originally suggesting that the girl slipped from her grandfather's arms at a window.
18-month-old Chloe Wiegand, who was about to begin a week-long Caribbean cruise with her parents, 2 siblings, and all 4 grandparents. At the time of her death, according to the family attorney, she was in a child water zone play area with her maternal grandfather, which had glass walls around it, but one partition was open, and that the little girl went through it thinking it was like the glass at a hockey rink, but it was simply open air.
Fox's Phil Keating in Miami. The girl's father is a police officer in South Bend, Indiana. Federal health officials urging doctors and hospitals to be more proactive in identifying cases of a debilitating condition, especially in children, and possibly linked to viral infections.
A spike in cases of acute flaccid myelitis, or AFM, continues to cause concern at the U.S. Centers for Disease Control. It mostly affects children, leaving their limbs weakened and with breathing problems. It's not polio.
There's not any known association with this outbreaks that we've been seeing of AFM and parental choices about vaccines.
Dr. Ann Schuckett at the CDC says it could be triggered by a common virus as cases appear seasonally. They're hoping doctors will be more proactive in looking for it in their patients and in reporting their findings. Eben Brown, Fox News.
A special session on gun violence is over in Virginia. The state legislature adjourning after less than 2 hours with no agreement, in part because of infighting among majority Republicans. The state's Senate leader proposing a surprise bill to ban guns in government buildings statewide. Again, on Wall Street, it had been, or it is, a mixed finish. The Dow down 23. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll.
Let's gallivant.
Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC. GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA, 8A, and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 data-to-go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is data to go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 6 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Guam Supreme Court yesterday issued a decision overturning the negligent homicide conviction of former Guam Police Department officer Mark Torre Jr. In March 2017, a Superior Court jury found Torre guilty in the 2015 shooting death of fellow officer Sergeant Albert Piolo. Torre was sentenced to 8 years in prison. He's been under house arrest pending the appeal of his conviction. Yesterday at a news conference called following the Supreme Court's decision, Torre told reporters he was in complete shock. He sat between his wife and his defense attorney, Jay Areola, holding a wooden cross in his hands. "Faith is what initially allowed me to breathe," said Torre. "It has been everything. We are pleased with the decision," said attorney Areola. "It is a very bold decision," he said. Piolo died after being shot once below the right armpit with Torre's gun in the early morning hours of July 13, 2015. The prosecution accused Torre of causing Piolo's death during an alcohol-fueled argument. The defense countered that Piolo was distraught over an extramarital affair and shot himself. In his appeal, Areola cited the trial court's decision to allow jurors to see a video from a body camera in which Torre was being questioned. The interrogation took place before Torre was read his Miranda rights, which allow a defendant to remain silent. That was a violation of Torre's Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination, argued Areola on appeal, and the Guam Supreme Court agreed, saying the trial court should not have allowed that body cam footage to be shown. Attorney General Levin Camacho issued a statement yesterday saying, "We are disappointed with the Supreme Court decision and will discuss options with the Piolo family before a decision on how to proceed is made." Meanwhile, Geraldine Piolo, the mother of the slain police officer, told the Guam Daily Post yesterday that she and her family are sad, disappointed, and disgusted. Her son, Albert Piolo, did not deserve this, she said. He lost his life. Geraldine Piolo said that she will still hopes for justice should the case be brought back to trial again. We'll have more news after this.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The summer of Jeep, Compass, Cherokee, Wrangler, Cars Plus in Mighty. Your new adventure starts now. Buy the 2019 Motor Trend SUV of the year and get a new Jeep Wrangler Sport for $268 per paycheck. Or get a new Jeep Compass Sport, only $167 per paycheck. Let them hear you coming in the new 2019 Jeep Cherokee. Buy for $205 per paycheck. And get financing as low as 1.99% on all Jeep models. Come see why you'll be kicking it at Cars Plus in Mighty. Driven by you.
10 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. Guam Attorney General Levin Camacho has issued a statement in support of the crackdown on products laced with cannabinol oil derived from the hemp plant, which is commonly known as CBD. CBD products have been widely available in island stores in recent months following passage of the 2018 Farm Bill, which legalized hemp. In a statement yesterday, the AG said the legalization of hemp has given some the impression that CBD has been completely decriminalized and that CBD sales are now legal everywhere and by everyone. However, he said, decriminalization does not mean no regulation. The Attorney General's statement was issued in response to a letter sent to him Monday by Acting Governor Josh Tenorio and Speaker Tina Munoz-Barnes. They asked for a written determination of the AG's position on the ability of local businesses and individuals to import CBD products. Tenorio and Barnes were reacting to complaints from island businesses whose CBD products have been seized by officers from the Guam Customs and Quarantine Agency. Director Ike Pareto told the Guam Daily Post yesterday that he instructed his officers to begin testing air cargo shipments of CBD products In February, they found traces of THC, a derivative of hemp, better known cousin marijuana, which remains illegal under federal law. In his statement yesterday, the AG said CBD is still considered a drug and the Food and Drug Administration has authority to regulate it. Joseph McDonald, the former chief prosecutor for the Attorney General of Guam, has been selected as the Port of Guam's in-house legal counsel. The announcement was made at a special port board meeting yesterday afternoon by Port General Manager Rory Respicio, who said McDonald will take on his new role on August 6. Basil O'Malley was appointed chief prosecutor after Levin Camacho took over as Attorney General at the start of the year. McDonald has been a staff attorney at the AG's office since. McDonald will join the Port Authority with an annual pay of about $119,000, said Respicio. In a cost-saving move, Respicio proposed hiring in-house legal counsel when he took over as Port GM in January. Respicio has previously said that former legal counsel Mike Phillips and his private law firm had been paid about $70,000 a month, amounting to over $6 million in legal service costs for the port over the past 8 years. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at weather.
All right, let me see what we can get going for you. Mostly sunny skies today, Kevin. Becoming partly cloudy. We've got some isolated showers with a slight chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Light and variable winds, highs around 90. Overnight lows near 79 degrees. Sunset this night is going to be at 6:52, and the sun crossed the horizon, the plane, at 6 o'clock this morning. It's going to continue to do that as we move through the middle of the summer months in the middle of 2019. Just need to make sure I've refreshed the weather radar before I throw that picture up for Mike. But I do want to make sure I get a couple of pictures from our WhatsApp viewers and show off some of the great sunrises that we've had this morning. This one is from the Renee's front porch, and she went out there and caught the coconut tree, trying to catch some clouds up there in the sky. Not bad, not bad at all for an early morning effort. Might be a couple of others here. I think I've got the one from Pam Duvall's backyard. A little bit of color up in Jigo. That's nice.
Yeah, everybody getting a similar pick because you've got the sun that broke the horizon, but you had some some hot towers, if you will, some cumulonimbus clouds that were in the area.
Cumulonimbus?
Yeah, and they caught the first rays of the sun, so they're all lit up nice and orange and things, while you see the clouds that are still down below the sunlight are still kind of white and grayish, and it made for a real nice contrast.
Yeah, so this is yours.
Yeah, I took that one. There was another one that I took as well, and it just, really nice look. That's one thing
this
I can
one, right?
say.
That
was
was
yesterday.
Okay,
yeah.
so here's today's. If you're watching on Facebook Live, just going through the album of great sunrises this morning. In fact, I got one from Ken Leon Guerrero in his backyard. Again, the same thing. We've got some tall, towery clouds out there that are catching some of the early morning light. Nice contrast against the ones that are a little further back.
If you flip back between this picture and the one before it, you're looking at the same cloud, but because Ken is so far down south, he has a different perspective of this cloud. Yeah, but it's actually the same one. It's the same exact cloud. But it's kind of neat how that works.
I
Living
like
on an
science.
island. Yeah,
Let's do more science one of these days. 6:14 in the morning. Thanks, everybody, for some outstanding photographs here. Now I am pretty sure that I've got the latest weather radar image that I can show up on the screen. Mike, what do you see?
Well, I see quite a few showers out there. Now, these are still in the isolated range, but boy, they're getting pretty close to scattered. And we can look for that to continue. We're going through the diurnal cycle now, but there's actually a lot of low-level moisture available, so these showers might kind of hang around for the next few hours. And so you can expect possibly a little bit of a rain shower on your drive to work this morning. The good news is, looks like that we're having a bit of a transition in our weather pattern, and we're going from the springtime dry to more of a summertime dry and wet pattern. And that can be seen by some of this moisture off to the southeast. This is actually kind of shot off of the blobage that's down to the southeast. It's a persistent area of weak low pressure, a monsoon low, if you will. And it's kind of hanging out down there, and it throws off these little things of moisture, and we're getting one now. So I think our rain chances might go up today and tomorrow, but definitely the models are pointing towards a significant uptick in rainfall for next week.
Well, yesterday afternoon, I left the office yesterday and said, okay, going up to the transmitter side. I was leaving the dry, sunny part of Guam and moving to the central highlands, and I predicted that I might see some thunderstorms or some lightning activity, and it looked like we were getting really close, and dark clouds started looming over, and as I was making my way away from the tower site, I got hit with these dime-size raindrops. Did you feel that?
That was just as the clouds were starting to approach that height where they can generate some of that lightning, but didn't quite get that big yesterday.
I got you. All right, well, that's all the information we can give you from the 93.3 Point Weather Center. And that's Duke Sky Talker in there. My name is Ray Gibson. News and weather together brought to you by Bank Pacific, banking on the Pacific for 65 years. I don't know what happened. You want me to keep going? Okay, I'll just keep going. You get that sorted out. 6:16 in the morning. Might as well get you the long litany of people that are sponsoring the program. You know what? Today's going to be an interesting day because at some point we might find out whether Lau Lau is one word or two. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by my buddies over at American President Lines, APL Global Presence with a local home. It is the summer of Jeep over at Cars Plus. You might have heard the guy doing that in the ad just a couple of minutes ago. And here's the way it works. We've got Wranglers and Compasses and Cherokees and Grand Cherokees financing as low as 1.99%. Get a test drive today. Why don't you? Over at Cars Plus. Never been a better time to go solar. Guys over at Micronesia Renewable Energy and now have these incredible batteries that go with the solar system over at your place. So make sure that you give them a jingle and find out if they can come by. And then once you've got that solar panel system at your house with the Jeep Wrangler and under the garage, and you're going, gee, it'd be nice to keep all of this stuff safe. Call the guys over at Nanbo Insurance and ask them about the Bundle Up plan. The number is 477-9754. You can save up to 50% on all of your insurance needs for the rest of 2019. They will press the button. They've got a little button on a spreadsheet that says, okay, bundle price, and then it spits out a number that is lower than any known number in the populated universe. Anyway, 6:18. Do I have time for one more? Ruby Tuesdays. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 4 to 6. And then all day Tuesday. Select draft beers, wines, sangrias, or an RT Tipsy Palmer or a Ruby Relaxer. $5 or less. $5 appetizers, too. Check them out for happy hour tonight at Ruby Tuesdays, Guam.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
At the transmitter site yesterday. It's working on some additional technology that we wanted to bring to the radio dial. So I was up there doing that kind of thing, and frankly, it's the kind of thing that I love, except for one part. And I'm generally not afraid of anything except heights. And as you might imagine, being I don't know how many thousands of feet up the Mount Alutum is, and then you got to go up this set of steel stairs that are there's a very steep angle on that, and if you lose your footing, as I've done a couple of times, it can put you in a pretty precarious and scary situation. And then you realize that, hey, you know what? There's starting to be storm clouds that look like they're gathering around me, and we've got big heavy raindrops that are starting to fall. I wonder if this is going to be one of those lightning days. I remember I was up there once upon a time, and it turned into a lightning afternoon, and I remember standing in the very center of the building with my arms folded against my chest to make sure that I wasn't touching anything, just in case one of those weird lightning bolts got into the house and got me. Anyway, that was my science day yesterday. Looks like we might be in for another interesting science day today on the program. But let me get things started the way I normally do, and that is to say, wow. I'm lucky, the luckiest guy in the world. I'm surrounded by broadcast professionals. It's got the name of the show, has got my name on it, but that's just, that's because the advertisers like me. So we put my name down there, but it isn't just me. I got Michael Knight in the studio. He's going to be pressing buttons and answering the call when you ring us up at 888-8255. That's 888-8255. As you can see, we've got WhatsApp around here. That's how Renee and Pam and Ken got their sunrises to me, and I can take those and stick them on the radio and the video anytime I want to. You can send me anything you want to anytime you like at 988-5874, 988-5874. That's hard to remember. Just remember 988 and then 5874 on a phone keypad. for those of you that are still using phones, is KUSG. So that's all you need to remember. 988-KUSG, and that's the WhatsApp number for the radio station. You can call. I won't answer, but, you know, just if you want to test the line or something like that. And then I got Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post and an incredible newspaper this morning with all kinds of stories on it. Former cop not guilty. The case has not yet been dismissed, but as I understand it, they threw out some of what was used as evidence.
They overturned the conviction.
Overturned the conviction. I'm sorry, I used the correct legal terms. And I'll see if I can get Bob Klitsky in here to do a little bit more of a legal, clinical explanation of what it was that happened over at the court yesterday and what the next steps might be for the Attorney General or perhaps the Piolo family. And then there's another great court story. After the hoopla, former DOC officers get off with misdemeanors. This has got listener and other Governor Leon Guerrero, Ken Leon Guerrero, crazy upset. If you follow him up on Facebook, he's already thrown a couple of interesting posts up there and more to support his idea that there needs to be stronger prosecution around here. And supposing online here this morning on Facebook that these guys, now that they've pled down to misdemeanors, may actually be eligible to return to the Department of Corrections and work there some more. Wouldn't that be an interesting turn? And maybe sling some more meth in there. And the crazy thing is, I'm looking at this and I'm going, wait a second. We've got dealers in prison. It's supposed to be guards that are slinging dope in prison, and these guys get to plead down to misdemeanors. In the meantime, if you have the temerity to bring in CBD, cannabinoid oil, oh boy, Attorney General is going to sick the customs guys and public health on you. What kind of upside-down planet are we on?
Yeah, that's only because the Attorney General has no use for CBD. But
yes, he does. He's an athlete. He's an athlete like me. He tries a runner and a cyclist.
Evidently, he doesn't use it. Yeah, evidently he doesn't find it useful.
I'm gonna. You know what we got to do? We'll find you some of the good lotion, right? And try some of that stuff. 888-825-888-TALK. You know what? We got Blake Watson coming in, another broadcast pro. Jerry Roberts in the next hour is going to be doing the extra point. But there's a whole bunch of other people that I need to say hello to and welcome to the broadcast.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
All right, I got you there. Ismael comes in first, and it's got Troy Torres annoyed. Cousin Troy's annoyed. He says, I was there. I got the notice. And I clicked it, and then Ismael was already there. Nobody knows how he does it, when he does it. It's a thing. John Ray came in second. John San Nicolas. That's John Barcina San Nicolas at 3. Anita
I'm sorry,
Muffness.
that's John San Nicolas.
San Nicolas. Anita Muffness with the pretty Valentine's eyes. I got John Rages, Tom Tahadzi, Tommy Aguero, Richard Leon, Lynn Vince Boropolino, and Nick Perlowski round out the top 10. I just lost her. Who's the one from Spain? What is her name? She's listening from Spain this morning, and your name just scooched up. Cousin Troy there, Charla Montville, Cohen, Ken LG, Ramona Nakamura, Patty Santiago's online, Renee Logie, and Linda Gabriel are there. And Ismail Velez with a piece of advice for Cousin Troy. Use the Force, Troy. Let go of the dark side. That's sweet. Levon Guerrero, Darlene Garcia's online. Actually, Darlene's going to be in the studio. Is she coming in today? I can't remember. She's going to be in the studio sometime. To tell you, she's a grief counselor, and they've got another one of these grief counseling seminars going on, and very, very well attended. People like it, and so we'll be talking to her about that, and controlling and getting over, if you can, some feelings.
You know, it's one of
or just accepting them. Yes,
it's one of the things that affects all of us, much like breathing and dying and other things, is grief. But so many people just don't know how to cope with it properly.
No, I drink. Come to work every day.
That doesn't hurt.
No, it's self-medication. I get CBD oils for that. There's a CBD gummy bears. I think will help take care of some of those things. As long as you're not hurting anybody. There's my grief counselor at Darlene's I'm sure she's going to kill me when she sees me. But she's going to get you first. All right. Ken LG says, I'll be willing to bet that as soon as the DOC guards plead guilty to misdemeanors, they'll be back on the job because DOC is short on guards, and conviction of a misdemeanor does not bar one from government employment. Hell, I'd be willing to bet the DPW security guard arrested dealing meth out of the guard shack is still there. We'll see. Tommy Barcinas, there's Simon Sanchez, Jeff Pleadwell's online. I got Smug Wimp is there. Richard Leon, what's he saying? House arrest encompassed all of Guam. Jackie Borja Cabrera, and there's a great picture of Jackie up on Facebook. In fact, you can see it in her icon here this morning if you're watching on Facebook Live. That is the dress that she put together. It's a traditional Chamorro Spanish outfit that she wore off to, I don't know, the Eagle Lodge or someplace for whatever it is, the liberation festivities that were taking place up in her neck of the woods out in the world. Tommy Martinez Aguero says, where's the Justice, Graham? A couple of minutes later, it comes back and says, Guam. Auto spell, huh? It's hate it. Greg Karabrock, Heather Paris, Vivian Cunningham is there. Cheryl Ochai, Charlene Marchessault. There's Nate Horn. Who else is playing around? Jimmy Martinez, Renee and Pat Taitigui. Uncle Robert Underwood is online. It's not Thursday. Usually reach out to Uncle Robert on Thursdays or Fridays to get a sense of how I ought to be and how people ought to be thinking about some of the big topics that are in front of us these days. And so, Uncle Robert, I'm going to give you another day to come up with your thoughts on what some of today's big headlines are, and you can give me a primer on how to react to some of those maybe tomorrow morning. I got Lillian Cruz. Dave Torrey is there. Congratulations, Dave. Understand you made it through the course. Let's go pew 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 sometime soon. We ought to all do that. Everybody, you know what? Everybody we ought to make a range day. One of these days, that's what we ought to do for the program. Is we'll all get together and we'll have a range day. And we'll all get out and bring our guns and our ammunitions and our other shooter toys. We'll go up to the range and just pew 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 all morning long. That would be an absolute blast, don't you think? Or don't you? Who else is there? Keila Faye. I don't know that name. Somebody right-click on that and let's find out more about this new person lounging around with us. Joe Bloss is there. Rick Leon, Adonis Mendiola, Rose Greeno, Mers Greeno, Donna Mila Taitano is online. Cody James. Yeah, I'm getting people, they're all thumbs up on the idea that we're going to go to the range. Randy Kruger, Sabine Bina Chargaloff. Something is upside down with the justice system here on Guam. Tony and Edwin Pinko added there. Carmen Mendiola Paredes is listening in Spain. Thanks very much for chiming back in. I appreciate that. Nate Horn says, Gov Guam's justice system causes me grief. Does that count? Well, if that gets you closer to the bong noise, I suppose it does. There's Katie Baltazar Dodge. Is that another somebody that is working with Darlene on grief counseling and all of that? 6:28 in the morning. Great to have everybody online this morning. It's a huge crowd. There's something you want to talk about, something you want me to talk about. I take requests. I take requests on a riff. If there's something that you want to know what my thoughts are or maybe a little bit more information, that will totally acceptable. You can do it again on the Facebook Live, like Diane Shinahara, Dion Shinahara can. WhatsApp at 988-5874, or use the phone at, what's the number? 888-255-888-TALK. 629, and kind of a short table. I know you're going to go, how is that possible, Ray? It's a short table of contents. The news cycle dominated really by just a couple of stories yesterday, and I've already talked about those for a little bit more on that a little bit later on. But it doesn't mean that there aren't other interesting things that are happening here on Guam. The Cannabis Board has approved a fact sheet for recreational use. It was one of the things that they decided that they ought to do first, is put out some kind of a fact sheet or an FAQ on medicinal marijuana, recreational marijuana, and their read of the law. Who can use it? Can I grow cannabis? Can I buy or sell? All of these different questions, Q&As that are out there. There's another clipping that I got. It's an invitation for bid for the Guam International Airport. They want to do some rehabilitation on runway 6 left or 24 right, depending on which way the plane is pointed. But I think it's kind of interesting. It got me I'm not really interested in the rehabilitation of the runway. That I'm not getting a charge out of that. I don't get that little thrill. It doesn't curl my toes. But it reminded me. You don't want to know what curls my toes. But it did remind me that it's been a while since we talked with Brother Tom Adda from over at the Guam International Airport. It's time for an update on the Space Force! Space Force! Where are we on that? I haven't seen the Virgin Orbit thing with the rocket tied to its fafa. I haven't seen the thing. What's going on? Well, yeah, I got guys that are already waiting to give you, Tom, their submissions for what possible uniforms may look like in the Tom Atta Space Force. We'll make you the first general. I mean, if you want, admiral. Maybe it's what would be the appropriate title for somebody at the helm of the top guy in the Space Force?
I think Admiral would be okay, I guess.
Right?
But what is the Air Force equivalent? It's not Admiral.
It's General, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
But I mean, in the Starfleet Academy, like the top guys are admirals, aren't they?
That's true.
Yeah, so I'm wondering.
Yeah, because like in Star Trek, the whole idea there was it was arranged more like a naval situation, so their ranks are
because they were aboard ships,
right?
They're not ships in the ocean, but spaceships. Yeah. So yeah, I can see we can see how that could go. At any rate, questions that we need to get answered about where we are, where's the Virgin Orbit thing, and where in the process are we before we start seeing these things kind of flying around here all the time. Sandra, Sonny, Kanata, listening from L.A. and California. We're marking you safe there, Sandra, from the earthquakes and that's good news because it means that California hasn't slipped into the ocean yet.
Not just yet. And to slip back to Virgin, Virgin just went public. You heard on Fox News.
Just now?
Yes.
Then why is the Dow? Why is the Dow backwards? Why is the Dow in the red? That should be big news for everybody. Or maybe they waited until the closing bell. Timmy Lujan's there. Cassandra Cosby listening from Oak Harbor, Washington. Beautiful Oak Harbor, nice place. And like I said, Dion Shinahara and more. Look, it's 6:32 already in the morning, and the phone lines are heating up. We'll start taking calls here in just a second, but we got to do headlines first. From the Guam Daily Post, this is Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, all but one of the correction officers charged in connection with a major contraband conspiracy at the prison are expected to plead guilty to misdemeanor charges. Former corrections officers Franklin Rosalind and Furman Meratita appeared before Superior Court Judge Anita Sokola yesterday. Rosalind's attorney, Anthony Paris, told the court the defendant has now agreed to plead guilty to official misconduct as a misdemeanor. Everything else will be dismissed, said Perez. Rosalind is scheduled for the change of plea hearing on August 1st. Former corrections officer Meratita, meanwhile, also appeared in court yesterday. He was among 13 people, including 6 DOC officers, indicted in September 2017 in the alleged scheme to bring meth, cell phones, and other contraband into the prison. Meratita pleaded guilty in November 2017 to receiving bribes and possessing methamphetamine while employed as a guard at DOC. He agreed to cooperate in the prosecution of the other suspects. His sentence is pending. The Guam Environmental Protection Agency has launched an investigation into the dumping of residual foam from drums into a storm drain on airport property. The dumping was captured in photos obtained by the Guam Daily Post. The drums were once filled with the firefighting foam known as AFFF. Firefighters at the airport used the empty drums and filled them with water, used them as target practice during training on the water hose turrets on the firefighting trucks. AFFF contains PFAS chemicals, which are a known health threat and have been found in 3 of Guam's water wells. GEPA spokesman Nick Lee said the agency expects to conduct interviews with aircraft rescue firefighters and review the airport authorities' policies, as well as conduct a thorough on-site inspection. Guam lawmakers yesterday held a short session in the afternoon talking about 2 charter school bills introduced by Senator Talina Nelson. Bill number 106 would remove the Guam Department of Education's responsibility over the budgetary and organizational needs for the island's 3 charter schools. Senator Tello Taitagui, however, said she thinks the bill might be putting the cart before the horse. You're taking responsibility away from DOE and placing it where? Asked Taitagui. She said she's a strong supporter of the island's charter schools, but she said if Guam DOE's responsibility for finances is removed, someone else needs to be put in place to take on that responsibility. The bill was set aside at the suggestion of Senator Amanda Shelton, who said an amendment is being prepared. Lawmakers then turned to another charter school bill proposed by Senator Nelson, Bill number 107. It proposes to hold Guam charter schools accountable for maintaining accreditation status at a minimum. The measure would also extend the allowable period for a charter school to get accredited from 5 to 6 years. The bill was moved to the voting file. Session resumes this morning at 10:30. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I think that'll work. 6:35, 6:36 is iConnect time. Swing by the nearest iConnect. Ask them about how they're going to save you money with mobile and internet plans that suit the way you use mobile and internet.
Get a Coke 12-pack for only $3.49 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a dozen extra-large eggs for only 49 cents when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a case of Circle K water for only $2.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Grab your own Wendy's Berry Burst Chicken Salad. It's got fresh berries in it. Do you remember what kind of berries it had? You wrote it down yesterday, and I forgot.
It's blueberries and raspberries with a lovely raspberry vinaigrette dressing.
Does it have schnozberries in it? You can ask. Grilled chicken and more, made fresh every day. It's the Wendy's Berry Burst Chicken Salad at Wendy's.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Traffic Gizmo time. Sorry, a little bit distracted. I was looking up something that Darlene had posted on Facebook. I'll share that with you in just a second. But as far as the traffic is concerned, at 6:37 in the morning, there isn't a whole lot of it. A little bit busier at some of the intersections than normal this time of day. But maybe that's just people getting an early start on Wednesday, or maybe it's just people that are behind the trash trucks that are making their way through some of Central Guam. The aroma. Love that smell of the trash truck in the morning. Doesn't look like there's anything to slow you down. Marine Corps Drive from Sumai all the way up to Anderson Air Force Base. As I said, just a few intersections. Central Guam traffic, Route 4, Route 10, Route 8 also run pretty clear this morning. Shouldn't have too many problems getting around. It's 6:38. That's right now traffic here in DePoint.
Weekday shopping just got exciting. Join the Agania Shopping Center's Shop and Win on Weekdays promo. Shop or dine at any ASC store or restaurant on weekdays from now till October 31st. Show your receipt at the ASC booth and win instantly. Every $20 spent gets you an entry form to win big at the monthly draws, including round-trip tickets to Manila, $500 ASC gift certificates, and more. See posters and print ads for more. Special thanks to Sky Zone, Fundamental Riders, Vince Jewelers, and Wendy's.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
What's on your schedule for today? What are you working on? What's in the diary for a Wednesday morning? You got anything special planned? You might want to keep an eye on the legislature. They got a couple of things that are going to be happening today in addition to session. One of them is a hearing on Bill number 152 relative to establishing the Guam Film Office under the Guam Educational Telecommunications Corporation. I guess they're going to be moving things over to KGTF for command and control of the Guam Film Office, because there's actually a film being filmed on Guam right now. Now, I don't know who you're supposed to know in order to sort all of this out and be a part of it. I'm getting pictures in my own personal WhatsApp and Facebook feeds, friends of mine that are extras in this film. And I'm going, I want to be an extra. No, it's not just, it's not an ego thing. It's not, I want to be in a movie, get an after card or something like that. It's just the idea that they're shooting a movie, and I kind of like the idea of going out, hanging out, watching the process, and maybe participating in a little bit of it at some point. And also the remote possibility that I might be able to meet and profess my deep affection for Virginia Madsen ever since the movie Electric Dreams came out in, what was that, 83, 84? Sorry, maybe I'm getting a little too personal here, but so there's a Guam Film Office, and I guess the idea is to either encourage or to control the filming activities on Guam. It's been a long time since I've read about that. There were a lot of people that were, when Shiro's Head came out, and of course, even before that was that Max Havoc movie. Which it's right up there with Casablanca and Gone with the Wind. I don't know why the people that review those movies, the critics, don't like that particular show. There's also, you want to talk about your slam dunks. Slam dunks over at the legislature today. There is going to be the confirmation hearing for Judith Flores to serve as a member on the board of directors of the Guam Council on the Arts and Humanities. I cannot imagine anybody better for that position. I'm surprised that she wasn't already on it. A lifetime member. Judy Flores has been doing artwork down in the beautiful village of Inarahan for God knows how long. And you can see her. One of her pieces of art. You go to Guam Regional Medical City, and as you walk into the main hallway there it's got to be, what is it, a 50-foot boutique or something like that? It's this massive image that goes from the floor to the ceiling. Probably among the most photographed images anywhere. So, like I said, it's a slam dunk, and I cannot imagine anybody going and saying, I don't know about Judy for this particular job. Is there somebody else that we ought to be talking to? Sorry, I don't see it that way. The only thing, and it's not necessarily in the realm of art, but we don't normally hear about controversial comings and goings of the Guam Council of the Arts and Humanities, but just in case, Judy, brush up a little bit on the open government law so we don't get into the same kind of trouble as other departments and agencies on Guam have gotten into in the past. Our telephone number again, 888-8255-888-TALK, listening from all over the world here. Zita Weinmiller. I see the T in there. I think I know this lady. Edilberto Santos de Castro. Good morning, Guam. Watching from Seattle, Washington. Pat and Norma Jean Flores from right around here. Richard Leon, talking about a spaceport in the center of Guam. The population's not safe. Cape Canaveral is isolated. Use that. No. The paradigm has changed now on how we launch smaller rockets. I mean, nobody's talking about sending the space shuttle up from Guam. I mean, for something like that, yeah, you wouldn't need something like a Canaveral. But if we're just talking about sending a small payload, little tiny satellites, not any bigger than, say, a dormitory refrigerator, you don't need all of that firepower. In fact, the way it works now is you take a big plane, 747 style, and you tuck under the wing of one of these airplanes a rocket. And it doesn't need a whole lot of stages because it's already going to be cruising around at 35,000, 40,000 feet. And at some point, the guy in the pointy end of the airplane presses a button, and pretty soon the rocket will drop under the FAFA of the airplane and then shoot off not that much further to where it's going to be going into some kind of a permanent orbit. And part of the idea I want to say is that a bunch of this stuff is recyclable. You can use all of it. There's not a whole lot of junk involved in the process. A very lucrative business because, as you might imagine, with communications and data going the way it is, there have been companies that for decades now have been talking about the capabilities of putting a necklace of low Earth orbit satellites around the planet. And some in synchronous orbit, some in unsynchronous orbit. Fascinating science concept here. And Guam has been selected as one of the great places to do it. We're not too far off the equator, American territory, American laws, all of that kind of thing. And so my understanding is there was some kind of conversation going on between the guys at Virgin and the Guam International Airport. And I don't know where they left off on that.
Well, they're still working on it.
Still?
Yeah. Anderson is, they got a deal to launch from Anderson, and they're working on the Guam International Airport Authority as well. And they've also recently announced they're going to do the same thing in Japan and in England and all over the place.
Like I said, very lucrative business. There's a lot of people that want to be putting stuff like, look, I'm an amateur radio operator. I'm a ham radio guy. And there are ham sats that are up there, and that's how we get the ham sats up in that part of space. 6:44 in the morning, 888-255-888-TALK. Table of contents, and the question has got to be on a lot of people's mind. Does Guam just feel like the kind of place where you can go and get away with anything? Shoot a dog, no problem. No problem. We shoot a dog, and somebody's interpretation of the law could get you off scot-free. Dealing methamphetamines on Guam? Oh, slap on the wrist. Dealing methamphetamines, just smuggling it into prison. Now, apparently, that's a misdemeanor offense. You got to be kidding. You got to be kidding. And the other headlines, they're getting people scratching their head, asking all of those kinds of questions. How are we to feel safe around here if there doesn't seem to be any punishments that fit the kind of crime that we are dealing with? And that's why, if I did endeavor to have, Ray Gibson's range day, where we all show up at the range and we pull out our guns and ammunitions and our bullets, and we'll put our headphones on. We might need a bigger range for that because there are more and more people that I know. I've been answering this question a lot more recently than in this year than I have in any other year. And the question I'm getting a lot of is, what are you carrying? What's your everyday? What's your EDC? Your everyday carry? And I'll tell you, it's a Glock 43. It's it's a safe pistol. It shoots 9mm bullets. And I think it's kind of sexy. I think it's kind of sexy. That's my EDC. I've got others. I was telling my buddy Dave the other day. He says, it's what kind of gun do you have? I said, well, it's. I got this one here, but I've got others. He said, others? What for? I said, well, it's like owning a pair of running shoes. You don't wear the same kind of shoes for every kind of race. I mean, you got trainers, you got shoes that you wear for running fast and short. You got shoes that you wear when you're running long and slower. And it's the same thing with guns. You're going to want an everyday carry gun. You're going to want a gun for the range. You're going to want something for specific around the house. You're going to want a different kind of gun for hunting. Heck, you're going to want a different kind of gun for New Year's Eve. That made him laugh. I'm laughing a little bit in my head as I'm saying it. But I'm getting that question a lot because there are more and more people that are coming around and saying, I don't know. How do I protect myself? The cops are out there doing their thing. They're pulling people over left and right. And it seems like every time somebody gets pulled over because they've got a lousy license plate or a blinker's not working or the registration is off, police officers have got this uncanny ability to detect, if you will, certain character tics that these drivers have. That turns into, would you step out of the car? May I take a look inside your vehicle? And almost every single time they seem to be finding something. Almost every single time they seem to be finding something, and more often than not, they're finding stuff in vehicles that are being driven by repeat offenders, folks that have already been in front of the courts. And I don't know. I'm reading this on the front page of the Guam Daily Post. All but one of the Department of Corrections officers charged in connection with a major contraband scheme at the prison are expected to plead guilty to misdemeanor charges. I thought there was a guy that rolled over on everybody else so he could get the misdemeanor charge, and all the rest of them would find their way into more serious charges. But it looks like it's gone kind of in the opposite direction. Anthony Perez told the court the defendant had agreed to plead guilty to official misconduct. Everything else will be dismissed, he said. AG, said Sokola, okay, I will give you a change of plea. The Attorney General's, Oh, those poor kids.
I'm beginning to think these lawyers go for these deals because they actually lack the skills to operate within a courtroom. They're scared. They don't actually want to get up there and start trying to prove something. No, let me just negotiate this behind the scenes.
Well, or is it just, I just want to be able to say that while I was there, I got the most convictions. Yeah, I've got convictions, but they were all small convictions on major crimes, and nobody ends up going to jail. Ken LG writing on Facebook, it's sad that we have gotten to the point that discussing guns in a positive way on talk radio says bad things about our criminal justice system. Yes, because people can't. It's like every man for himself, I think, is the way that people are feeling around here these days. Yeah, lawyers make deals because it's easier. Good morning, Hannah. Nice to see Rich Leon out there. Andre Bainham. Time to hear from Leavin' No Justice Camacho. Well, we'll work on that. He's on the list, obviously. Tommy Aguero's there. Bianca Borja is online. Necklace of satellites in orbit. You like my phraseology, right? Age of Ultron. Has that started? Hava Joanna Renee, Marilyn Santos online. Let's clear the forest for the spaceport, but ban the gun range for a tree. Hi, Christina White. Day. I grew up listening to you on Hit Radio 100. Left when I was 16. I remember you with the giant boombox. Send pictures. I don't have a lot of pictures from those days. Jennifer Post Schnitger is there. As I said, Andre Bainham's online. Valerie Cruz is there. Good morning to Tom Tahazi from or to Tony and Annette from Tom. Keith Parsky, Washington D.C. Keith, send the cavalry. I got somebody in D.C. that's listening. Send the cavalry out here. Send a whole bunch of lawyers. That's maybe that's what we need is more or these prosecutorial lawyers. Certainly the conversation about Tory case blew up the internet for a little bit yesterday. There was a whole lot of back and forth, and I think that's probably going to end up continuing today. I'm told there is going to be a Justice for Piolo demonstration. Do you have that information handy, Kevin?
I do not.
Okay. There's that going on. Speaking of demonstrations, there's going to be one tonight. The folks, different activist groups on Guam, very, very upset with Admiral Shoshana Chatfield and are going to be having a little get-together down in...
at Adelup.
At Adelup today?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. They're going to be about
and
5:30.
on Friday, the senators are taking a tour of the firing range.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Guys, if I could interject here, I thought
it's a trap.
I thought the gathering today is at the Paseo Loop. I could be wrong, and Kevin's a newsman. So
no. Let me just for clarity and for accuracy, let me just check and see what I've got. There was Kevin sent me the flyer on Facebook yesterday, or not on Facebook, on WhatsApp yesterday. I should be able to call it up and see what we've got. There it is. The call to action. Let me see if I can put this on the big screen here so everybody on the Facebook world can see it, and the YouTubes. Calling all land defenders, water protectors, and people for peace to join us in protest to rise up in protection of our home. It is unacceptable that Admiral Chatfield denied the governor's request to pause construction on the firing range, and they want to protest to save the ancestral sites, our main freshwater aquifer, endangered species, fishing sites, rare medicinal plants, and more. And I put and more. I like that. So I guess there'll be the and more stuff at the thing today. It will be there it is, Kipuha Loop in Agana. At 5:30 this afternoon. Perfect timing for everybody to get in there and go and protest.
Corrected.
No problem. So you go to Kipua at 5:30, and then after that we'll go and hang out at Chamorro Village, maybe do some carnival and stuff like that.
Yeah, after all, it is a Wednesday night.
It is. That's what I'm saying. It's Wednesday night. It's already busy down there, and but I suppose you'll know which ones are the protesters and which ones are the people that are doing some shopping by the signs that they're going to be carrying at the site.
Well, we're going to have protesters probably in about 3 places because some of them think it's in at the Adelup, and others think it's all the way at Retidian Beach.
That's all right. The Latexin?
Yeah,
I got you. Well, for clarity, if protesters start getting your posters and your protest gear ready, it will be at the Kipua Loop in Agana at 5:30 this afternoon. Watch out for it. If you want to get involved in it, go get involved. If you don't, then I recommend that you avoid the area because that part of Agana on Wednesday nights rather busy. Just anyway, 6:53 in the morning. And let me put this back up on the screen and get back into some of the other items that I've got for you on the table of contents. As I said, it's interesting in my mind that we've got. What feels like just a loosey-goosey control over crime here on Guam. We can't seem to control the criminals that are going through the system. They go in and then they pop out of the system. We don't seem to have any real controls over that. But, boy, you want to talk about how quickly the government of Guam can move if there is a hint, traces of THC in your CBDs. This is the part that has got me going. There's something backwards around here where we've got drug dealers that get a slap on the wrist and are released by the system. But if you're importing CBD oil, watch out because the man is coming after you. I don't have a copy of the letter that Levin Camacho in the Attorney General's office penned yesterday. I get the idea that there needs to be perhaps some kind of regulation. We're not talking about a product that apparently is the same as, I don't know, a can of Spam or a case of beer or something like that. It's got CBDs in it, and it comes from the dreaded hemp seed and the hemp plants, and it's related to marijuana. So everybody is in pure freak out mode about CBDs. In my mind, it's just another interesting salve. It's an interesting rub. It's an interesting ointment. It's an interesting gummy or additive or whatever. But in my mind, it is completely and totally harmless.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why folks are going into the freak-out mode about it, even if it does have a little bit of THC in it. I don't know that that's inescapable. My understanding is that you can't get CBD without traces of the THC in it.
Right, and it's usually like 0.03%, so it's
infinitesimally
inconsequential.
small. Yeah, you would have to literally ingest gallons of CBD oil in order to get enough THC in you to get high.
Yeah, and
nobody's
going to
do that.
It would never happen.
No,
I guess
so
this situation
tastes
will
like
be
crap.
solved like everything else on Guam is, and it'll require some sort of legislative action to break through that and get it done.
Ding, 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 ding. Thank you very much for bringing that up, because also in the table of contents, there was a presser that came out, I want to say it came out yesterday, from the office of Senator Clint Rigel. Over at the legislature. Hold on a second. I've got it in here somewhere. No, it's Chamber of Commerce stuff. To all senators, stakeholders, media, from Senator Clinton E. Rigel, first notice of an informational briefing on the importation of cannabidiol and hemp products. So the legislature springing into action here. The Committee on Economic Development, Agriculture, Maritime Transportation, blah, 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 will conduct an informational briefing on the importation of cannabidiol and hemp products. This will take place next Tuesday at the legislature. Public hearing will be broadcast live on GTA Channel 21, Docomo Channel 117, yada, yada, yada. And that's it. That's all it says about the questions. That there's an informational briefing that is going to take place at the legislature on the importation of CBD and these hemp products. Here's where I stand on this one. I don't see anything wrong with CBDs, even if it's got trace elements of THC in it, because I'm not in full freak-out mode about that kind of thing. I don't think that we're breaking any laws. I don't think the federal government is going to stop whatever it is that the federal government is going to be doing, asking why we are not clamping down on the unimpeded importation of cannabinoids.
I can see they're trying to get to the nitty-gritty of the issue, but I think the whole thing is kind of preposterous, because medicinal and recreational marijuana are legal here now. So what difference does it make?
And there's that. It is scratchy. In the meantime, we just got a bunch of these guys that are dealing meth in prison. Let those guys go. Put them away on misdemeanor charges. But we're going to go after the heavy stuff. We're going after the CBDs. Unbelievable. Anyway, that's where we are. What have we got? Tina Cruz Eveline says, all the way from Baltimore. I'm so happy to hear conversations that need to be heard at home. Sure enough. And Charlie Tenorio, Pari system in full effect. Huh, Ray? Protesters will scare the tourists over at Chamorro Village. No. They're going to bring out the nice ones. They'll only be the nice ones with skirts and top knots and that kind of thing, blowing the conch shells. We're only going to bring out the nice ones, not the scary activists. I don't know that there are scary activists anymore. I don't know that I've seen a whole lot. Maybe tonight. Somebody was asking about how many people are going to go. I don't know. I think that's going to be the other interesting point.
It only gets scary when senators stand at intersections and yell at people.
Have we had a lot of that this year? Do you remember?
Not this year, but last year.
The guy, what's his name, was screaming at everybody up at Anderson Air Force Base. Sabine Chargaloff. There should not be any deals for anyone bringing contraband into the prison, especially if it's a correction officer. They might be able to get their jobs back. A DOC? Question mark. How can you let them be in charge of offenders? That's a joke. We're not saying that they're going to bounce right back. We're saying it is in the realm of possibility. Misdemeanor is different than a felony. So there could be, and we know that the Department of Corrections are chronically short-staffed, and you've got guys with experience might be able to go back in there and still fit in their uniforms. We'll see what happens. We'll watch how all of this plays. Plenty more on today's table of contents. But I've also got a bunch of stuff from yesterday that I never got around to talking about, up to and including a couple of interesting national and international stories to share with you in a couple of minutes. Oh, hey, are you looking for a job? You're looking for a gig? You know what would be a great gig? Working at a cruise ship. And those guys are coming back looking for brown-skinned folks like us to go help them with shipboard activities. I'll share that with you in just a little bit. In the meantime, 7 o'clock, we're KUSG. I got you 93.3 The Point. Fox News Live is next. Kevin Kerrigan right after that. Jerry Robertson, The Extra Point, all ahead right here.
A renewed fight over health care. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. A federal appeals court in New Orleans hearing a state-led effort to challenge the Affordable Care Act as unconstitutional now that Congress has repealed the individual mandate, the tax penalty for not buying insurance. Democrats say it's part of a Republican effort to scrap Obamacare.
Shame on them. The stakes can't be higher.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says millions of Americans will suffer if Obamacare is tossed out in court. Senate Republican Leader Mitch McConnell.
I think the important thing for the public to know is there's nobody in the Senate not in favor of covering pre-existing conditions. Nobody.
He says if that protection were lost, the Senate would act quickly to restore it. The case could also end up back before the U.S. Supreme Court. A growing number of Democrats calling for Labor Secretary Alexander Acosta to step down over the handling of a previous case against Jeffrey Epstein when Acosta was a federal prosecutor.
What I do know is that he's been a really great Secretary of Labor. The rest of it we'll have to look at. We'll have to look at it very carefully.
President Trump adding that while he did know Epstein, he wasn't a fan. Acosta tweeting support earlier today for the new federal case against Epstein in New York. He's accused of sexually abusing dozens of underage girls. The family of an Indiana toddler who fell through a window to her death on a cruise ship says she did not drop from her grandfather's arms as initially reported. Instead, the family says it happened in a children's area that appeared to be secure with fixed windows and no warning signs.
Royal Caribbean needs to answer this question is why would you ever in a kids play area put windows that passengers can open?
Family attorney Michael Winkleman.
And it was reasonable for Sam, the grandfather, to think that this was all glass because from his perspective it was all glass.
The ship has moved on, but the family remains in Puerto Rico waiting for the girl's body to be released as the investigation continues. This is Fox News.
The summer of Jeep, Compass, Cherokee, Wrangler, Cars Plus, and Mighty. Your new adventure starts now. Buy the 2019 Motor Trend SUV of the year and get a new Jeep Wrangler Sport for $268 per paycheck. Or get a new Jeep Compass Sport, only $167 per paycheck. Let them hear you coming in the new 2019 Jeep Cherokee. Buy for $205 per paycheck. And get financing as low as 1.99% on all Jeep models. Come see why you'll be kicking it at Cars Plus in Mighty. Driven by you.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Former presidential hopeful Ross Perot has died.
The Texas billionaire was best known for his two presidential campaigns, particularly his run in 1992 against then-Governor Bill Clinton and incumbent President George H.W. Bush. Ed Rollins helped manage that campaign.
He had a disdain for the mainstream media. He loved Larry King. He loved the Today Show. He loved certain people that treated him well.
Winning nearly 20 million popular votes, Perot was viewed as an outsider who may have cost President Bush a second term.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland. Perot was 89. He died early today after a battle with leukemia. A new entry in the 2020 race.
Billionaire investor and activist Tom Steyer making it official on Twitter, writing, "It's true, I'm running for president." Also releasing this campaign video.
I think what people believe is that the system has left them. I think people believe that the corporations have bought the democracy, that the politicians don't care about or respect them.
Steyer, who's been advocating for President Trump's impeachment, joins the crowded race for the Democratic presidential nomination months after declaring that he would forego a run. Steyer said his campaign will focus on reducing the influence of corporations in politics. He also plans to target climate change. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
There's a new option for Uber fans.
The ride-hailing giant is launching Comfort Rides, a new service where passengers can let their driver know in advance that they like a little less conversation and more legroom. Riders are guaranteed a minimum amount of space in cars less than 5 years old and can use the app to tell drivers they don't want to chat. The fee for Comfort Rides will cost 20 to 40% more than standard Uber rides. The company's new features are in response to requests from business travelers and other riders.
Fox's Hillary Barsky. A mixed finish on Wall Street. The Dow slips 23 points, but the S&P and the NASDAQ were higher. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 data-to-go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is data-to-go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Get 2 Pepsi 12 packs for only $8.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a Pepsi 12 pack for only $3.49 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See store for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get 2 Coke 12 packs for only $8.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65% for travel, back to school, a wedding. Do whatever you want with the money. During July, we just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Guam Supreme Court yesterday overturning the negligent homicide conviction of former Guam police officer Mark Torrey Jr. In March 2017, Torrey was found guilty in the 2015 shooting death of fellow officer Sergeant Albert Piolo. Torrey was sentenced to 8 years in prison. He's been under house arrest pending his appeal. At a news conference yesterday following the Supreme Court's decision, Torrey said he was in complete shock. He sat between his wife and his defense attorney, Jay Areola, holding a wooden cross in his hands. "Faith is what initially allowed me to breathe," said Torrey. "It has been everything," he said. His attorney, Jay Areola, said, "We are pleased. It was a very bold decision from the Supreme Court." Piolo died after being shot once below the right armpit with Torrey's gun. The prosecution accused Torrey of causing Piolo's death during an alcohol-fueled argument. The defense countered that Piolo was distraught over an extramarital affair and shot himself. In his appeal, Areola cited the trial court's decision to allow jurors to view the video from a body cam in which Torrey was being questioned shortly after Piolo's death. The interrogation took place before Torrey was read his Miranda rights, which allow a defendant to remain silent and seek legal counsel before answering any questions. That was a violation of Torrey's Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, argued Areola, and the Guam Supreme Court agreed, saying the trial court should not have allowed the body cam footage to be shown. Attorney General Levin Camacho issued a statement yesterday saying, "We are disappointed with the Supreme Court decision and will discuss options with the Piolo family before a decision on how to proceed is made." Meanwhile, Geraldine Piolo, the mother of the slain police officer, told the Guam Daily Post yesterday that she and her family are sad, disappointed, and disgusted. "My son did not deserve this," she said. "He lost his life." Geraldine Piolo said that she still hopes for justice should the case be brought back to trial again. In other news, Guam Attorney General Levin Camacho yesterday issuing a statement in support of the crackdown on products laced with cannabinol, a derivative of the hemp plant, which is commonly known as CBD. CBD products have been widely available on island stores in recent months following passage of the 2018 Farm Bill, which legalized hemp. In a statement yesterday, the Attorney General said the legalization of hemp has given some the impression that CBD has been completely decriminalized and that CBD sales are now legal everywhere and by everyone. However, he said, decriminalization does not mean no regulation. The Attorney General's statement was issued in response to a letter sent to him on Monday by Acting Governor Josh Tenorio and Speaker Tina Munoz-Barnes. They asked for a written determination of the AG's position on the ability of local businesses and individuals to import CBD products. Tenorio and Barnes were reacting to complaints from island businesses whose CBD products have been seized by customs officers. Customs Director Ike Pareto told the Guam Daily Post yesterday that he instructed his officers to begin testing air cargo shipments of CBD products in February. They found traces of THC, a derivative of hemp's better-known cousin, marijuana, which remains illegal under federal law. In a statement yesterday, the AG said CBD is still considered a drug, and the Food and Drug Administration has the authority to regulate it. We'll have more news after this.
Weekday shopping just got exciting. Join the Agania Shopping Center's Shop and Win on Weekdays promo. Shop or dine at any ASC store or restaurant on weekdays from now till October 31st. Show your receipt at the ASC booth and win instantly. Every $20 spent gets you an entry form to win big at the monthly draws, including round-trip tickets to Manila, $500 ASC gift certificates, and more. See posters and print ads for more. Special thanks to Sky Zone, Fun and Mall Riders, Vince Jewelers, and Wendy's.
Hafaday, this is Congressman Nicholas. Our office is currently visiting our villages, providing contact information for our office and taking any inquiries we may be of service with. All vehicles and staff are appropriately identified for your safety. Please feel free to let our constituent outreach team know how we can be of service to you, and thank you for your kindness.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. All but one of the correction officers charged in connection with a major contraband conspiracy at the prison are expected to plead guilty to misdemeanor charges. Former corrections officer Franklin Rosalind and Furman Maratita appeared before Superior Court Judge Anita Sicola yesterday. Rosalind's attorney, Anthony Perez, told the court that the defendant has agreed to plead guilty to official misconduct as a misdemeanor. Everything else will be dismissed. Rosalind is scheduled for a change of plea hearing August 1st. Former corrections officer Maratita also appeared before Judge Sicola yesterday. He pleaded guilty in November 2017 to receiving bribes and possessing methamphetamine while employed as a guard at DOC. He agreed to cooperate in the prosecution of the other suspects. Sicola told Maratita's attorney, Doug Moylan, she just wanted Maratita to know that all those that were there as guards are getting official misconduct, so your client is getting the worst of all of them, she said. Maratita's sentence is pending. The Guam Environmental Protection Agency has launched an investigation into the dumping of foamy water from drums into a storm drain on airport property. The drums once contained the firefighting chemical AFFF. The dumping was captured in photos obtained by the Guam Daily Post, and when they were filled with that firefighting foam known as AFFF, firefighters at the airport used the empty drums and filled them with water and used them as target practice during training on the water hose turrets on the firefighting trucks. AFFF contains PFAS chemicals, which are known as a health threat and have been found in 3 of Guam's water wells. Airport Executive Director Tom Atta has acknowledged that there might have been traces of the chemical in the used drums. GEPA spokesman Nick Lee said the agency expects to conduct interviews with aircraft firefighters and review the airport authority's policies, as well as conduct a thorough on-site inspection, he said. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at our weather.
I got it around here somewhere. It's the usual, mostly sunny today, but it might become partly sunny this afternoon. Watch for some isolated showers and maybe on some thunderstorms later on today. Light and variable winds. Highs around 90 degrees and overnight lows of about 79 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:52. Sunrise this morning came up where Renee was about 6 o'clock, and she went a nice little morning walk and snapped a couple of pictures for us and stuck those on the WhatsApp. You can do the same at 988-5874. Take a look at weather radar right now as we enter the weather center here at 93.3 The Point. And Sky Talker. We got to write this stuff down. I got to do a little bit more of an official intro here
You
from
need
the
a flashcard.
From the weather center. Here's Duke Sky Talker.
Looking at radar right now, just some isolated showers out there, though. They are almost scattered, though. They're getting pretty numerous, and looks like some more activity flaring up to our northeast. Safe to say, we're looking at a pretty good chance of getting a shower or two during the day today. I think more importantly, though, in the longer term, is what we're starting to see is a bit of a shift from the normal springtime dry weather pattern to a more summery type of wet dry pattern, which just means we'll probably start seeing more showers in our forecast in the coming days. But right now,
big raindrops.
Yeah, and it looks like actually some big raindrops about to move over the south as you got a pretty healthy cell down there. Shifting to the satellite real quickly, we see a bit of a disturbance coming in from the southeast. That's just the clouds and showers, and that's what's going to be moving across us for the next 24 to 36 hours. Also got a bit of a monsoon trough down there, the near equatorial trough, as they call it, down below 10 degrees north latitude. That's to our southeast. Kind of a persistent area that the models are actually showing to kind of migrate to the north and spin off into a couple of nondescript weak tropical disturbances, but more so than anything else, it will bring the monsoonal flow up towards us, and so we'll start getting much more rainfall, probably looking into early next weekend and through the rest of the week as well.
Keep looking at, towards Liberation Day and the festivities on the 21st of July, and wondering, because it's always hit or miss. You never know what it's going to end up being. Are we talking about one of those kinds of super ultra, can't believe the food will barbecue itself hot, or is it going to be one of these wet and rainy ones? It started off a little bit rainy last year, but turned into one of those hot days. We'll see what kind of weird schizophrenic bipolar weather we get this year.
I can tell you now we're 11 days out from that point, but the models are indicating that it could actually be pretty rainy on Liberation Day.
It wouldn't surprise a lot of people. We have been through very, very wet and rainy, standing literally in inches of water, rain days that we've had out there in the parade grounds. 7:16 in the morning, and that's news and weather from the Weather Center. That's news and weather right here on The Point.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA, 8A, and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
Yeah, those guys know what they're doing. 7:17 in the morning. The Ray Gibson Show brought to you by American President Lines. Global presence with a local home. You thinking about happy hour? Never too early to start thinking about happy hour. What time does Ruby Tuesdays open? Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then all day Tuesday between 4 and 6. Select draft beers, wines, sangrias, the RT Tipsy Palmer or Ruby Relaxer, $5. Plus you can get apps, $5 as well. Check them out for happy hour, Ruby Tuesdays tonight. Program also brought to you by Micronesia Renewable Energy Solar with battery storage available now. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. And it's the summer of Jeep at Cars Plus. Sale ends July 31st. Go test drive some of the great automobiles in the Jeep family, the Compass, the Cherokee, the Grand Cherokee. How about this? 1.99% APR on your Jeep Wrangler. Comes in your favorite color. I know what it is. They know what it is. Go for a test drive today at Cars Plus.
Real Talk Radio is back. Welcome to The Point, Guam's FM News Talk Superstation.
All right, So nothing on spaceport yet. We'll see what we can find out this hour, next hour, something like that. 888-825-5888-TALK is the telephone number here at the radio station. Jerry Roberts in studio. Extra point coming your way in just a couple of minutes. A couple of interesting things, though, on the business beat. We'll look at the numbers first and go over some commodities, and then my observations on the passing of Ross Perot. S&P 500, 29.79. They're up 3 points, almost 4. NASDAQ at 81.41. They're up 43 points. Mixed close, though, on the markets here. Dow Jones Industrial Average suffering a 22.6 point loss, closing at 26,783. Again, 26,783. Still within shooting distance of 27,000. Still got a couple of days left in the week for me for that prediction that I've got that we're going to see the Dow over 27,000 before the end of the week. Had some rough going in trades today, but they're not the only ones. FTSE is going to be opening in the red, 75.36. Nikkei up by only 30 points to close, opening at 21,565. Hang Seng is down by 215 points. Shanghai off by about 5, and the DAX is off at 106.96 points. They closed at 12,436. On the commodity side, oil, yuck. Big price jumps for West Texas crude, up by almost $1 yesterday, 57.46. And mind you, that was an increase as well from 57. I'm sorry, a little bit of a decrease, but had been trending up. 57.46 yesterday, 58.38 today. That's up by 92 cents for a barrel of West Texas crude. You generally don't feel that on Guam, but you will if you're buying gasoline over at the auto port. Everybody else buying gas on this side of the fence, brace yourself. I filled up the tank yesterday. I went into the bank and took out a loan and was able to fill up the tank because I got a feeling it's going to be going up. Trading in the last couple of days for Tapas at 66.74. Up to 68.21. Up to 68.21. That's an increase of $1.47 for the price of a barrel of Tapas crude. So if you're near E and near a gas station where they're still selling it at 409.9, you might want to think about throwing some of that relatively cheaper gas in the tank before.
Relatively cheaper.
Relatively cheaper, because I got a feeling it's going to be going up. Fox News reporting the death of Ross Perot. Yeah. H. Ross Perot. You remember him, an interesting political time back when he was running against Clinton and Bush?
Yeah.
No, that was. But are you familiar with the book that was written by a guy named Ken Follett, On the Wings of Eagles?
No.
On the Wings of Eagles is a story of Ross Perot, and one of the most interesting cases. I was telling Kevin Kerrigan, Ross Perot always kind of reminded me of Lee Holmes. You know, a Marine colonel, and didn't take apologies or excuses from anybody. And same thing with this guy. In December 1978, 2 EDS, Electronic Data Systems executives working in pre-revolutionary Tehran were arrested on suspicions of bribery. Bail was set at $13 million. When H. Ross Perot, head of the Dallas-based company, hears about it, he decides to extract his employees regardless of the cost. He orders the firm's lawyers to find a way to meet the bail, and that was what was happening in the front. In the backside, he recruits a team of volunteers from among his executives, from among his boardroom. He gets a whole bunch of guys led by a retired United States Army officer to break his other executives out of the jail in Tehran. And it worked. And the story worked. He sent a bunch of these guys, his own little EDS SEAL Team 6, out to Tehran. And there was enough of a drama going on with prison transfers and things like that to make it that much more difficult. But at the end of it, they got him out. They got him out. You want to talk about corporate raiders? Think about your company. Think about the shop that you run here. If you had to extract by force, if necessary, somebody in your corporate family from someplace where there is a bloody revolution going on, who would you pick?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, but what a great story in leadership, if you will.
Keep in mind that this effort also went along with a failure on the part of the U.S. government to extract the other hostages from Iran.
Absolutely. So here it is. He did not trust Jimmy Carter and the U.S. government to do anything by way of getting his guys out of the pre-revolutionary Tehran, and so he went in and decided, I'll do it myself. Love that story, and maybe one of the things that people generally don't know about H. Ross Perot. Jerry Roberts in the studio. Good to have you along here. You about ready for today's extra point?
Just about. Now, on Perot, we talked about a week ago that he almost bought Microsoft from Bill Gates way back when. and would have been the richest human being on the planet for a long, long time.
Yep. Well,
almost $1 trillion he would have been worth had he bought it.
He was a cantankerous old fella, and maybe just wanted things to always remain the way they were, and wanted to continue to push his EDS. As opposed to, somebody else's startup, the computers that they built in their garage. How good could those be?
I just think he wanted a lower price. He was a pretty tough negotiator.
Could be some of that. Well, he's got a team of executives led by Army guys, whatever. 7:23 in the morning. Jerry Roberts in the studio for today's Extra Point, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and our friends over at First Hawaiian Bank.
Yesterday, we discussed the very common issue of forgetting information as soon as we learn it. Today, we explore solutions. Are there ways we can help our memory to retain the information we want to keep for the long term? We'll find out next on the Extra Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
If you didn't pick up on part one of this topic, download the transcript at GuamTraining.com, number 357. Today, I'll reveal a few ideas we can use to keep information in our memory and available when we want it. Let's get to it. Number one, to put off the forgetting curve we talked about yesterday, where data is lost almost as soon as we take it in. One strategy is to refresh the information as soon as possible. In my training courses, I ask students to go back over their notes and all materials given within the first 24 hours. This is important for two reasons. It reinforces what was learned and also allows the user to reread the notes they made. And if they're having trouble with what they scribbled down, like people would have bad handwriting like me, it's new enough that they'll likely be able to figure it out. After the first 24 hours, I suggest they go back over everything a week later and to do that a few more times. The act of revisiting a course several times allows us to drive the information further into our long-term memory. This works in the same way when we're reading, let's say, a nonfiction book, such as for our personal development. I read it once and I read it once and highlight the parts I want to remember. Then I reread the book several times, but just the highlighted areas. The original reading may have required, let's say, 5 or 6 hours, but the rereads often take no more than 20 or 30 minutes. Number two, if there are a number of important ideas that I want to be able to recall, I'll sometimes put those on flashcards. The point here is to write a key phrase or perhaps a couple of key words on one side of the card, then your description or explanation on the other. It's a little bit of a game to see if someone were to give me the key words or phrase, how much would I be able to tell them? Three, the third strategy takes a little longer, but if you can harness it, I think it can be a big winner for you. Here's the basic concept. Information is best retained when it's meaningful for us. If we can't find meaning, then it's nothing but random facts and theories. What is the trainer, the TV documentary, the book trying to tell me? How does this tie in with me, my job, my life? When we connect the meaning and what we learn to the meaningful things in our life, that's when information sticks. We've now sent a signal to our memory to grab this data and store it for future use. Step 4 is implementation, and the best way to make sure the information remains with you. Use it. My trainings include an action plan where students identify the parts of the course which best resonated with them. If they pick 20 ideas, I have them focus on 3 to start and then 1 to take action on. They can come back for more after they get going with the first one. Implementation is the ultimate strategy to make sure we don't lose what we've learned. Grab transcript number 358, this one, and see if these ideas help you to retain more information. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First to Wine Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
That's all of that stuff was too hard. What's the easy one? Give me the easy ones again. Just can I just have somebody
hire somebody to do it for you?
Right. What's your job? Your job is to remember all of the crap that I can't manage to stick in my head and make it stay. I'm one of those guys, and this is it becomes a problem, I think, sometimes with work. And there's a handful of key employees that I have here at the radio station that know how to gaslamp me because they know that there are always going to be times, especially in the middle of 18 different projects at once, that they can come up to me and say, "Hey, boss, you remember when we were talking last week? I told you I was going to take a couple of days off, and so you said that's okay, and I'm going to give you a raise anyway." And I'll go, "Yeah, it sounds vaguely familiar, but I'm not entirely sure." But there are always some cases where somebody might try to test me by gaslamping me because they know that there are shortcomings in my memory, and I've just got so much room in my head for short-term stuff.
Well, that kind of thing happens. But in the terms of the context I spoke about, let me see if I can just illustrate it quickly, how someone explained it to me years ago. Let's say, for example, we take the topic of radio. That's a folder in our brain. Okay?
Yes.
Underneath that's another folder called talk radio. Underneath that's another folder called talk radio hosts. Underneath that is a folder called Ray Gibson. Now, if I'm taking all this information in, right, the brain has the capability. We automatically tag information, like we would in a social media post, right? So when information comes through on Ray Gibson, it goes into the Ray Gibson folder. If I'm trying to remember all these details out there, right, without context, without meaning, they're just out there flying around.
So you've got to find ways to put...
You need to tag it, or relevance to it, meaning to you, so it goes into the proper folder. I mean, this is obviously not a physical folder, but the issue is it provides the information of how we do it, right? So if we have context, if we have meaning, the brain can tag these things, so the next time the topic of Ray Gibson comes up, or talk radio, or talk show hosts, then the brain can access those things.
And again, we fight problems because you're using folders, and in my mind, I wasn't thinking of paper folders. I was thinking of nested folders on a computer.
That's
where
exactly.
Everything is relevant in terms of computers a lot of times in people's minds. And then we talk about how technology is making it so that you don't generally have to remember everything. It's tabular in nature is the way somebody described it to me. It's all tabular in nature. I know where to find it on the internet. I know where to find it on my computer. I know where to find it in my notebooks. I don't need to remember it. I just need to remember where the information is.
Well, that's the recognition strategy we talked about yesterday. Now, obviously, the hard drive is similar to the brain. The hard drive does not put things sequentially in block after block after block after block. The information that you're looking for, the document or something, could be spewed all over the place,
right?
And have nothing to do with the folder you're into now.
But the computer knows where the object is.
The computer knows where it is because it tags the information and then can go get it on demand. And the brain works the same way.
It's a complicated subject. Master it as best as you possibly can. I know people older than me that are reading books on memory management and how to do simple things like memorizing phone numbers and people's names when you meet them at cocktail parties, details of contracts and things like that. So it's a problem that will follow you all the way around your life. But keep working on it. You might eventually find a routine that works for you. 7:31 in the morning. Bob Klitsky is going to be stepping into the studio for a couple of reasons. Number one, he forgot his phone here yesterday. Speaking of remembering and forgetting and important things. But the other thing is, you know what? We've got friends in the telecom business, Bob, and I think it is time for you to get a phone upgrade. I'll show the bottom of the phone to the viewers on Facebook Live to give you an idea, just a sense of how old this phone is, how long Bob Klitsky has been rolling around with this phone. It's a whole adapter, it's a whole charger cable generation behind. When was the last time you saw something like this? Well, the good news is that this still works with a number of goodies that you might still be able to have. You remember those old Bose speaker systems where you put the iPhone in there and then they changed the adapter, and now those are practically useless. I'll tell you how to get around that. Yes?
Bob says you can't use the phone, though, because it's a wind-up. He has the key.
It's time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, Guam Attorney General Levin Camacho has issued a statement in support of the crackdown on products laced with cannabidol oil derived from the hemp plant, which is commonly known as CBD. CBD products have been widely available on island in recent months following passage of the 2018 Farm Bill, which legalized hemp. In a statement yesterday, the AG said the legalization of hemp has given some the impression that CBD has been completely decriminalized and that CBD sales are now legal everywhere and by everyone. But decriminalization does not mean no regulation, he said. The AG's statement, issued in response to a letter sent to him Monday by Acting Governor Josh Tenorio and Speaker Tina Munoz-Barnes. They asked for a written determination of the AG's position on the ability of local businesses and individuals to import CBD products. Tenorio and Barnes were reacting to complaints from island businesses whose CBD products have been seized by Guam Customs. Customs Director Ike Pareto telling the Guam Daily Post yesterday that he instructed his officers to begin testing air cargo shipments of CBD products back in February. They found traces of THC, a derivative of hemp's better-known cousin, marijuana, which remains illegal under federal law. In his statement yesterday, the AG said CBD is still considered a drug, and the Food and Drug Administration has the authority to regulate it. Guam lawmakers held a short session yesterday afternoon talking about two charter school bills introduced by Senator Talina Nelson. Bill number 106 would remove the Guam Department of Education's responsibility over the budgetary needs for the island's 3 charter schools. Senator Tello Taitigui, however, said she thinks the bill might be putting the cart before the horse. You're taking responsibility away from DOE and placing it where, she asked. Taitigui said she's a strong supporter of charter schools, but said if Guam DOE's responsibility for charter school finances is removed, someone else needs to be put in place to take on that responsibility. The bill was set aside at the suggestion of Senator Amanda Shelton, who said an amendment is being prepared. Session resumes again this morning at 10:30. Joseph McDonald, the former chief prosecutor for the Attorney General of Guam, has been selected as the Port of Guam's in-house legal counsel. The announcement was made at a special port board meeting yesterday afternoon by Port General Manager Rory Respicio, who said McDonald will take on his new role on August 6. Basil O'Malley was appointed chief prosecutor after Levin Camacho took over as AG in January. McDonald has been a staff attorney at the AG's office since. He'll join the Port Authority with an annual pay of about $119,000. Respicio proposed hiring in-house legal counsel as a cost-saving move when he took over at the port in January. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Right on. 7:35, that's iConnect time. Swing by the nearest iConnect and ask about how they can save you money on internet and mobile plans. Call them at 888-8888.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
You are going to love this. I had the opportunity to swing by IHOP last week, and they said, here's the menu. You can order anything you want on the menu. And I have in my life had some really, really great pancakes at IHOP, so I knew I was going to like that. So I wanted to try something different, which will freak people out that know me because they know that I'm not a try something different kind of guy. But you know what? It seems to me that anytime you've got something like a burger involved, you're going to be happy. And I noted on their local faves menu, they've got a local moco, 8-ounce beef patty on a bed of, now anywhere else they'd put it on regular rice, but over at IHOP it's on red rice. They smother it in this house gravy with some sauteed onions in it, mushroom, and I was about to reach for the Tabasco, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to hold off on that for a second because I want to see what the chorizo on the inside of it is, and it's got this nice spicy chorizo, not too hot. But it'll get your attention and just add so much of it. Of course, it's crowned with the sunny side up egg. You're going to love the price. If you are a Loco Moco fan, and I think every restaurant needs to have a version of a Loco Moco, and theirs is outstanding. You got to try that Loco Moco favorite on the local faves side of the half-a-day menu at IHOP.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
TALK 738, and the traffic gizmo is not going off, so that in and of itself is a good thing. That there does not seem to be any major problems on any of Guam's roadways. Let me see if I can get the thing up so that I can read what's happening on the streets where you happen to be, and if there is actually anything. If you got an accident or something like that, call me up or send me a WhatsApp of the front end of that accident. Don't see anything major going on. The usual intersections at this time are starting to get busy. 1 and 3 is busy. We've got the intersection over at the Micronesia Mall 1 and 16 that is starting to get busy. You follow 16 all the way to 8, 10, and 16. A little bit busy there. 10 and 15, not too far away from the Santa Teresita Church. A little bit busy this morning because everybody needs to go pay their bill apparently over at GWA. There is a line of traffic on Route 4 leading towards Chief Kipoa Park and southbound Marine Corps Drive. It looks like that's running slow this morning. I don't know if we got any kind of waivers or protests or anything going on. There is a note that I saw in today's news. Temporary traffic control Route 1 and Route 4 in Agana beginning on July the 15th until December of 2019. There is going to be some construction there. Motorists traveling in Agana at the intersections of 1 and 4, 1 and San Santo Papa, and Route 4 and O'Brien. Right? That's virtually all of Agana Route 4, right? It's everything south of, everything towards Kipuha from about where McDonald's and Wendy's is, should expect intermittent lane closures and shifts. They're going to be doing some work on manholes, sewer line improvements, and road restoration down in that part of town. And as the notice says, it's going to start on the 15th and go right up until Christmas. Well, isn't that exciting? That's from our traffic center and our right now traffic gizmo. Traffic here on The Point.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65%. For travel, back to school, a wedding, do whatever you want with the money. During July, we just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
Right. Lots to get to here this morning. Melissa Salas Akimoto online and Facebook Live. So is Yvette Ibanez and Tenorio. Still giggling over my response about these possibility that these Dep Corps guards could be going back to work because they're only going to get found guilty of misdemeanors. You know what? That's good because they've got the experience, right? Experience smuggling, she says. Rosemary Duvall is letting her mom use use her phone to listen to the program. Jackie Diaz, Mark Mendiola, Mary Parka with a K, Jimbo Blancaflor. I understand Rico's back in town. That's good news. Melinda Sanchez is there. Nate Orn asking the question: would the judge in the case have known if the video was admissible, or the defense attorney at the time? You know, I've got the former senator and His Honor Bob Klitsky in the studio, and I'll ask him about that question. Let me just get through some of these names for a second. Ike Iseki, Christine Lujan, nice to see you there, Chris. Lynn Perez, Lou Sanchez, Richard Clark is online. Richard Leon asking, where does the Gov Guam buy gas? Kaz Endo with a note, congrats to the Guam men's beach volleyball team for beating New Caledonia. This marks Guam's first win in over 6 years. The young guys have broken the curse. Good news there. George Bumba's online, another former senator. Daryl Taggarty's there, Eunice Mendiola, Xavier Atalik, Joe Cruz, as in the real Joe Cruz, Chito de Guzman, Charlie Hermosa's online. Happy birthday to you, Charlie. Joe Cruz asking, is that Bob's iPhone 2? Actually, Smug Wimp says it's an iPhone 4. And it's amazing. You can see that just looking at the dog end of the phone. Denise Legaspi, Lady D is there. Paulie Parrish, Sherry DeFentorum, Andre Bainham, Tammy Bamba, and others are chiming in. Big crowd here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. You can also watch this at thepoint.gu as well as postguam.com on their page. Now that all that's taken care of, it's almost time for Fox News. But between here and there, we've got a couple of minutes to spend with afternoon host and Tall Tales guy Bob Klitsky. Good morning, Bob.
Hey, good morning, Ray.
Thanks very much for coming by the radio station. You didn't have to. You could have. Well, since your phone was here, I guess you did have to come by here.
It's kind of hard to wander around without a phone nowadays.
In 2019, you're absolutely right. It is kind of a necessity here, but I'm serious. We got friends in the telecom game, so if you're looking to upgrade from the last century's phone to something that's a little bit more contemporary, let me know.
Well, I'm still kind of used to having a phone that I wind up instead of charging,
Bob seems to me the kind of guy that doesn't spend a lot of time on WhatsApp and your Facebooks and Instagrams on the phone. You primarily use yours for making and receiving phone calls.
Phone calls, exactly.
I got you.
Strange thing to use a phone for.
You know what? Yeah, because anymore, there's so much more. There are computers, there's social media machines, there's cameras in these. I don't know if they told you that phone actually has a camera in it.
And if you happen to leave it somewhere, you can use your iPad to find out where you forgot
exactly where you left it. I actually had to do that once upon a time. 7:43 in the morning. Anyway, Bob Klitsky's in the studio, and you got on the air yesterday after the announcement and the press release had gone out from the court on the Tory conviction that was overturned. And I forgot to go to law school, so if I could get a little bit of a clinical legal analysis here on what happened, and then for people that are very interested in it, and everybody's picked a side on this case, what could happen next?
Well, what happened is we have the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution, and that's where it all begins, because there is language in the Fifth Amendment that says that no person shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself.
Okay.
Self-incrimination, and so that
you hear about it from time to time where people say, well, I'm going to plead the Fifth.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about. And so in order for an out-of-court statement for the defendant to be admissible, if he is in custody, excuse me, if they are in custody.
I know he's doing that because he's making fun. He's not actually politically correct.
Not even close.
No.
So in order for that statement to be admissible, a custodial out-of-court statement, the prosecution had to show that it was voluntarily given. So that was the burden up until 1966. That was the burden that the prosecution had, and that got pretty dicey. And a lot of time was spent on it. It was very difficult because it's a fact, so fact-driven. The courts were spending a lot of time determining whether or not an out-of-court statement was admissible. And then there was a little police misconduct, too.
Yeah. He volunteered the information after he fell down up the stairs.
Well, in Chicago, for instance, I think the rule was that you couldn't use a rubber hose any larger than a half-inch in diameter when you were questioning a defendant. That was a rule of mercy. So in 1966, the Supreme Court took off their robes and became politicians and enacted what amounted to a statute. And they said that unless the prosecution can show that the defendant had been warned that he had a right to remain silent, that whatever he said could be used against him. If he didn't have counsel, one would be obtained, etc. All of this.
What we called the Miranda Act.
Exactly, yeah. If you were to shake Lenny Briscoe in the middle of the night, he would say, you have a right to remain silent, yeah. Yeah, the so-called Miranda warnings. It came out of a case called the United States versus Ernesto Miranda. So Miranda's confession was suppressed, and in the process, the Supreme Court said, when it got to the Supreme Court, they overruled lower courts and suppressed his statement and said, oh, by the way, from now on, prosecution, you better be able to show us that you've complied with our little statute here that is now known as the Miranda warning.
And that is based on an extension of the Fifth Amendment,
yes.
Right, which means that there is a constitutionally protected right.
Exactly. Yeah. So now, after that, instead of arguing about whether or not the the statement was voluntary, the arguments now turn around whether or not the defendant was in custody. So for law and order purposes, it's really easy. Lenny slaps the handcuffs on the defendant and says, you have a right to remain. But you don't a defendant doesn't necessarily have to be in custody, arrested in order to be in custody. The test is that if a reasonable person being acquainted with all of the facts involved would feel that he didn't have a right to terminate the interview and leave, then it's a custodial interrogation, even if there's no arrest, no handcuffs, et cetera, et cetera.
So sitting in the bed of a pickup truck while there is a police officer in front of you asking you questions could be considered under custody.
Yeah, especially when there are 4 other police cars in the area surrounding the house, and especially when the questioning officer gets up and leaves and then has another officer come and stand in front of you while he's gone. And in answer to the earlier question, I think that was Nate that horned in and asked that question, wasn't it?
I believe it was, yes.
Yeah, so Nate horned in and asked about, let's see, his question.
His question was, why did the judge admit it?
Okay.
I mean, this seems to be pretty simple. It seems to be kind of in your face. He was under the custody and controlled by the police officers on the scene, had not yet been read his Miranda rights, but was still being interrogated, was still being asked what happened.
Okay, well, there was a motion to suppress at the trial court, and the judge denied the motion. So that the judge didn't know, that it was an involuntary statement because that matter was brought before the court. It was briefed, argued, et cetera, and the judge denied the motion. Well, if you read the Supreme Court decision, you could see that this is not necessarily an easy call because the guy's Tory's at his own house.
Yep.
His father is there. He climbed up on the tailgate of the pickup by himself. He could have, one would think, well, he could easily get up and walk into the house.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was a really easy call after reading through the Supreme Court's restatement of the facts.
So there's obviously more detail here that might not necessarily be in front of everybody unless you've got the detail, unless you've got the report in front of you.
And even on the detail that's set out in the Supreme Court decision, there's a pretty good argument that it was voluntary. It's not the one. It's not the one that the 3 justices bought.
Right.
But there is a pretty good argument. Yeah, he was at home. He climbed up on the seat of the pickup himself. He's a cop.
Yeah.
Cops know about the so-called Miranda warning, on and on and on. So that's apparently the thought process that the trial court used when they denied the motion to dismiss.
So where does it go next?
Nowhere.
Well, I mean, as far as I know, the conviction has been overturned. Now they're going to go for a dismissal, right? That would be Jay's next step.
The next thing, then, the Supreme Court will send what's called a mandate down to the trial court, and it'll say, take the appropriate action consistent with this decision. So the prosecution has to decide, do we want to try Tory again? Or do we want to dismiss the case? It's the prosecution's call.
But if the big chunk of evidence was the body cam footage that is now suppressed, their chances of getting conviction are slimmer.
Well, if you go through the harmless error analysis that the Supreme Court put forth, the Supreme Court said there was inculpatory evidence in on the video cam recording, right? That there was inculpatory evidence there, and that the prosecution didn't make a harmless error argument. Now, it could have been that the prosecution decided we can't make a harmless error argument because that evidence was crucial to our case, which is could be very well what happened. So it could be that the prosecution will decide that with the evidence remaining, it's not more likely than not that a jury will find beyond a reasonable doubt that Tory did what he was accused of.
Yeah.
So the case could be dismissed.
Huh. Are there opportunities for the Piolo family to pursue this civilly, as has been done in other big-name cases in the past? A reminder, it's O.J. Simpson's birthday yesterday.
Yes, for sure. And now, of course, it's been 4 years since the occurrence of whatever it was that occurred. You might have some statute of limitations problems there.
Notwithstanding that, though, are there different rules for proving if you're going after Tory civilly, if you're going after him in this case civilly, are there different burdens of proof to prosecute this or to defend it?
Absolutely. In the criminal case, the standard is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. In a civil case, it's preponderance of the evidence. So if you were to describe these with numbers, beyond a reasonable doubt is up there in the high 90s.
Sure. Preponderance of evidence, maybe not so high.
51 to 49, probably. A much lower standard.
Would the same evidence that should have been suppressed, they say, in the original trial, would that be allowed in a civil trial?
Yes, it would.
Yes, it would.
Yeah. So it's much easier to get a jury to find for you in a civil case than it is in a criminal case.
Absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. We'll see where this goes in the next little bit. And as I said, this is one of these cases, and it's one of those stories that has absolutely divided the community. There are people that are just up in arms over the conviction being overturned. There are some people on Mr. Tory's side that say, well, justice has finally been done, and can we move on and get past this tragic episode?
That's true. And sometimes constitutional rights can be a real pain.
Yeah. Well, there's that old federal. What are you going to be talking about on the radio today? Do you know? I get this guy a lozenge. How about between that? There's the CBD conversation. You got Clint Magell on the other line, so I want to jump to him in a second and ask him about this informational briefing that they're going to be having. Oh, he split. Okay, then I got all kinds of times with you. The CBD conversation. How would you put it on the match? Levin Camacho versus everybody that wants to use CBD. Apparently, he's the guy that pulled the trigger on the confiscations.
Yeah. Well, for a while it was customs and quarantine versus public health, because there was a
seemed to be some kind of conflict that Mike Nicholas had exposed.
Yeah. Now, Mike should just stay in his lane on this one. You know, he's in Washington and he's doing a pretty good job there. He should leave us folks back here to deal with our hometown business by ourselves.
To the degree that he's going to have to be the guy, I suppose, that would answer for what Guam is doing with CBD, if the federal government even cared what we might be doing with CBDs. I suppose maybe he should have a little bit of awareness, but I don't know that there's anything wrong with him just asking the questions about whose decision was this. We've got customs and quarantine rolling around and going to Payless and pulling their stock off the shelves, and they say, well, it's because of orders that we received from the Department of Public Health. And Public Health, Denorsi says, I don't know what you people are talking about. We didn't tell anybody anything.
Well, Mike is poking around in stuff that he really doesn't have a charter for. You'd think he was a talk show host or something.
For heaven's sakes, please don't play talk show. That's our job. I can do that. I can do that on my own. But notwithstanding his involvement, though, it does get the ball rolling. And then you got Tina Rose Munoz Barnes and Josh Tenorio, the lieutenant governor and actually acting governor and acting lieutenant governor at the same time, asking the question out loud, under whose authority? And so they asked Levin Camacho, and Levin says, well, it's me. I've got to protect the people of Guam from CBD with little tiny amounts of THC in it.
Yeah, the THC and cannabinoid chemistry is a little complicated.
I can tell you, take some CBD, get rid of that cough right now.
Well, actually, my cough's getting better, Ray.
Even without the CBD.
Well, I've been practicing a lot.
It's got that nice, deep, phlegmy sound in there. I like that.
Right. So you can get cannabinoid from hemp, but you can also get it from the marijuana plant.
Sure.
So the idea is that if it's cannabinoid, it's arguably comes from a marijuana plant. It could come from a marijuana plant.
Could.
And marijuana is a Schedule I narcotic. No matter how hard we try to pretend that it's not, it still is.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you're dealing with anything that has a connection with a Schedule I narcotic, you're going to have a problem. So as far as...
But didn't he say he would defend the decision of the legislature and the signature of the governor? Was it? Well, I'm trying to remember which case it was, but on recreational use of marijuana.
Well, I've mentioned before the emetic test. An emetic, an anti-emetic, is something that keeps you from throwing up.
Okay.
So if an attorney general can look at a state law, state statute, or territorial statute, and not need an anti-emetic to continue reading through it, then it's his duty to defend it. There's nothing miraculous about that.
Right. Again, it's a morning of fascination and big legal words. That's why we got somebody here in the studio that can dumb it down so guys like me can understand what's going on. So in this case, he's right to do. He's definitely in the right to do and to feel the way he does about these CBD oils. But it is kind of a far fetch here in my mind, because we've got so many problems with real harm-causing drugs, crystal methamphetamine, and we've got cocaine running around, coming in little containers that wash up on shore, and we've got drug dealers that are out there that are going through the criminal justice system, getting the requisite slap on the wrist, and then released out into humanity and society where they continue to sin. I'm just wondering if the priorities of the Attorney General's office could be used maybe to help staunch the rising tide of crime that we've got here on Guam.
Well, I would interpret what he's doing right now is just providing guidance, and that's the Attorney General's primary function, is to advise government agencies as to what the law is that governs them, and that shouldn't take away from prosecuting criminal cases.
Yeah, well, just in my mind, I'd rather have the customs guys taking a look in the mail and in luggage looking for crystal methamphetamine as opposed to a tube of CBD oil that some 75-year-old woman is using for our arthritis and fibromyalgia.
Well, if it were an either-or, I'd probably go along with you on that, but I don't think it necessarily is.
Well, sometimes we agree and sometimes we don't. That's the fun of living in the United States of America. Everybody got an opinion, and talk radio is where it comes out.
Absolutely.
Tall Tales at 4 o'clock this afternoon with Bob and his iPhone 4. Ray Gibson Show continues for another couple of hours. It's just about 8 o'clock. We're KUSG got you. Fox News Live is next. Kevin Kerrigan's coming up, and we'll pretend to talk about sports with Blake Watson on the other side. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate you coming by. It's 8 o'clock on The Point.
This is a Fox News alert. A blow to the Trump administration. I'm Lisa Lacera. They vowed to fight it, but a federal judge just ruling about a key point in the citizenship question in the upcoming census. Fox's Colonel Scott has more live.
Lisa, a federal judge has denied the Justice Department's motion to change all but 2 legal team members in pursuit of whether to ask on the 2020 census if respondents are citizens of the United States. That judge in his decision referred to issues with a tight schedule in order to get a quick resolution. The judge also called the defendants' thought that a change in counsel would mean minimal damage or minimal disruption to the case as not being good enough. President Trump has insisted the question be asked on the census even after the Supreme Court ruled that the Commerce Department's reason for doing so was insufficient. Lisa.
Grinnell Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer wants to know what role current Labor Secretary Alex Acosta had when a decision was made over a decade ago to not charge hedge fund manager Jeffrey Epstein with sex trafficking when Acosta was a U.S. attorney in Florida.
The first thing I've called for is that the Office of Professional Responsibility make public their documentation. It's a major mystery to everybody as to what has happened. Why did this absurd, obscene plea bargain occur?
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
As to Secretary Acosta's continued service, he serves at the pleasure of the President, and I'm inclined to defer to the President to make that decision.
Epstein pled not guilty yesterday to federal sex trafficking charges. He's due back in court next week. President Trump defending Acosta.
The rest of it we'll have to look at. We'll have to look at it very carefully. But you're talking about a long time ago. And again, it was a decision made, I think, not by him, but by a lot of people.
This is Fox News.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
Liberate your mind with laughter. Budweiser presents Hypnosis Comedy coming to Guam Liberation Weekend.
Half a day, Guam. I am comedian hypnotist Rich Guzzi, and I can't wait to see you July 20th and 22nd at the Sheraton Laguna Hotel.
With local comedy legend Frank Rios opening the show. $25 general admission, $35 for VIPs. Tickets on sale at 76 Circle K stations and at Coffee Slut. Special thanks to Community First, the Guam Daily Post, Delta Tires, Tri-Vision, and Choice Broadcasting.
You will have the time of your life.
Liberate your mind with laughter is a GSPN production.
The phone call was constructive. That's what White House Economic Advisor Larry Kudlow was saying after the call between U.S. and Chinese trade negotiators.
There was headway last winter and spring, then it stopped. Hopefully we can pick up where we left off, but I don't know that yet.
Both sides are talking about having a face-to-face meeting. Chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Joseph Dunford, says top military officials are moving forward with plans to build a coalition of nations to monitor and deter threats from Iran against civilian ships in the Persian Gulf. The initiative began last month after attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz that the U.S. believes Iran initiated. California taking on the high cost of emergency room care. A bill by State Assemblyman David Chu would ensure that patients in emergency rooms who have health insurance never pay more than their co-payments or deductibles, even if they're treated outside their network. But it has strong opposition from hospitals because it would cap how much they can charge insurance companies. The measure faces a key test in the state Senate tomorrow. An IPO that will send humans to space.
Space tourism is now going public. Publicly traded, that is. Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic on its way to be the first human spaceflight company listed on a stock exchange. The Wall Street Journal reports the company is getting an $800 million investment from social capital Hida Sophia Holdings. The goal? To raise enough money to beat out the competition and make space travel more affordable for everyone. Jessica Stone, Fox News.
You'll have to go elsewhere to find your friends. Next year, reruns will move from Netflix to a new HBO service called HBO Max. The service will offer more than a dozen original shows and movies, plus programming from HBO and TBS. Friends was the second most watched show on Netflix in the U.S. last year. I'm Lisa Lacera, and this is Fox News.
Building a business is tough work. Big or small, Nanbo Insurance has your business covered. Nanbo takes the guesswork out of coverage to protect your investments. Over the years, Nanbo has worked with businesses of all sizes, from large hotels to small businesses. Nanbo Insurance will be your best asset. With Nanbo, you can also save big when you bundle up and insure your car, home, motorcycle, or business. Enjoy great savings, up to 50%. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for more details.
Get a half gallon of Minute Maid orange juice for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a half gallon of Dairy Gold milk for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a $7 meal for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Valley Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Valley Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Valley Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Valley Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Guam Supreme Court yesterday overturning the negligent homicide conviction of former Guam police officer Mark Torre Jr. In March 2017, Torre was found guilty in the 2015 shooting death of fellow officer Sergeant Albert Piolo. Torre was sentenced to 8 years in prison. He has been under house arrest pending his appeal. At a news conference yesterday following the Supreme Court's decision, Torre said he was in complete shock. He sat between his wife and his defense attorney, Jay Areola, holding a wooden cross in his hands. "Faith is what initially allowed me to breathe," said Torre. "It has been everything." His attorney, Jay Areola, said, "We are pleased. It's a very bold decision from the Guam Supreme Court." Piolo died after being shot once below the right armpit with Torre's gun. The prosecution accused Torre of causing Piolo's death during an alcohol-fueled argument. The defense countered that Piolo was distraught over an extramarital affair and shot himself. In his appeal, Areola cited the trial court's decision to allow jurors to view the video from a body camera in which Torre was being questioned shortly after Piolo's death. The interrogation took place before Torre was read his Miranda rights, which allow a defendant to remain silent and seek legal counsel before answering any questions. That was a violation of Torre's Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, argued Areola. The Guam Supreme Court agreed, saying the trial court should not have allowed the body cam footage to be shown to the jurors. Attorney General Levin Camacho yesterday issued a statement saying, "We are disappointed with the Supreme Court decision and will discuss options with the Piolo family before a decision on how to proceed is made." Meanwhile, Geraldine Piolo, the mother of the slain police officer, told the Guam Daily Post yesterday she and her family are sad, disappointed, and disgusted. "My son did not deserve this," she said. "He lost his life." Geraldine Piolo said she still hopes for justice should the case be brought to trial again. All but one of the correction officers charged in connection with a major contraband conspiracy at the prison are expected to plead guilty to misdemeanor charges. Former corrections officers Franklin Rosalind appeared before Superior Court Judge Anita Sicola yesterday. Rosalind's attorney, Anthony Perez, told the court that Rosalind has agreed to plead guilty to official misconduct as a misdemeanor. He's scheduled for a change of plea hearing August 1st. Former corrections officer Furman Meritita also appeared before Judge Sicola yesterday. He pleaded guilty in November 2017 to receiving bribes and possessing methamphetamine while employed as a guard at DOC. He agreed to cooperate in the prosecution of the other suspects. Judge Sicola yesterday told Meritita's attorney, Doug Moylan, she just wanted Meritita to know that all those that were there as guards are getting official misconduct. So your client is getting the worst of all of them, said the judge. Meritita's sentencing is pending. We'll have more news after this.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA, 8A, and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. The Guam Environmental Protection Agency has launched an investigation into the dumping of foamy water from drums into a storm drain on airport property. The drums once contained the firefighting chemical AFFF, which contains PFAS chemicals, a known health threat, which have been found in 3 of Guam's water wells. The dumping was captured in photos obtained by the Guam Daily Post. Firefighters at the airport filled the used drums with water and used them for target practice during training on the water hose turrets on the firefighting trucks. Airport Executive Director Tom Atta has acknowledged that there might have been traces of the chemical in those used drums. KEPA spokesman Nick Lee told the Post that the agency expects to conduct interviews with airport firefighters and review the airport policies, as well as conduct a thorough on-site inspection. Joseph McDonald, the former chief prosecutor for the Attorney General of Guam, has been selected as the Port of Guam's in-house legal counsel. The announcement was made at a special port board meeting yesterday afternoon by Port General Manager Rory Respicio, who said McDonald will take on his new role on August 6. Basil O'Malley was appointed chief prosecutor after Levin Camacho took over as Attorney General in January. McDonald has been a staff attorney at the AG's office since. McDonald will join the Port Authority with an annual salary of about $119,000. Respicio proposed hiring in-house legal counsel as a cost-saving measure when he took over at the port in January. Respicio has previously said that former legal counsel Michael Phillips and his private law firm had been paid about $70,000 a month, amounting to over $6 million in legal service costs for the port over the past 8 years. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at our weather.
I got mostly sunny today, Kev. Become partly sunny this afternoon. Isolated showers with a maybe on some thunderstorms late in the afternoon. Light and variable winds are in today's forecast. Highs 90 degrees and overnight lows of about 79 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:52. Sunrise this morning was at 6, so it's getting later and later in the day that the sun is going to be coming up. That's nice. 8:13 in the morning. We'll take a look at the weather radar from the Weather Center. Michael Knight, also known as Duke Sky Talker, with his interpretation of the pretty radar art.
Yeah, when I get in here in the mornings, I go to the forecast discussion on the National Weather Service, and it is from yesterday evening. They've issued the morning forecast discussion, and there have been a few changes, and actually in our favor for rain. We're looking at the radar right now.
I can see some of it over Central.
Yeah, seeing some isolated showers out there. Even got a couple of clusters of fairly large thunderstorms off to the northeast and east. And this is kind of what's going to stick around today. We'll go to satellite in a moment. We'll see the moisture coming in. If you can see the wind pattern, the winds are, well, just to the east, maybe slightly south of due east. We're going to have island convection thunderstorms today because these winds will be light. It'll be pushing the moisture over the island. Island heats up, lifts it up into the sky, and it turns into rain.
We may boom.
Yeah, so and you very well could get some thunderstorms as well because there is more moisture in the air today than what was measured yesterday.
I thought I could see the dark clouds coming in yesterday. Didn't get the lightning, but certainly got the rain.
Yeah, technically speaking, it's called precipitable water values, and that's a measurement they take in the atmosphere of how much water could get squeezed out. And it's up over 2 inches now, which is always conducive for good rain. Looking at satellite here, we see some blobbage off to the east and southeast. That's the stuff that's going to be coming on through over the next 24 to 36 hours. That'll give us an uptick in rain. Got blobbage way down to the southeast. That's actually part of a monsoon trough that's going to be working its way northward. The Weather Service and I agree now that it looks like next week will mark a shift between the dry season weather pattern and a more wet summertime pattern, which we welcome.
And if anybody paying power bills these days is going to welcome things being cooler, and anybody that if it's been a while since you've had to mow the yard, well, go ahead and bring the thing out and get it ready for some work, because I got a feeling there's going to be enough rain. It's going to make the grass grow like the dickens. 8:15 in the morning from the Weather Center. That's Michael Knight, a.k.a. Duke Sky Talker, and this morning's weather forecast. Blake Watson from Sports Central. Sports Central. Coming up in just a couple of minutes.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65% for travel, back to school, a wedding. Do whatever you want with the money. During July, we just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
Gotcha. Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar because they have batteries now. 632-2613. American President Lines brings you the program as well. Global presence with a local home. And my friends over at Ruby Tuesdays are celebrating the idea that there's a happy hour, at least 2 of them every day, between 4 and 6, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and all day Tuesday. Select draft beers, wines, and sangrias are the Tipsy Palmer Ruby Relaxer, $5 or less. Plus, they got $5 apps as well. Happy hours happening tonight at Ruby Tuesdays on Guam.
Hafaday, this is Congressman Nicholas. Our office is currently visiting our villages, providing contact information for our office and taking any inquiries we may be of service with. All vehicles and staff are appropriately identified for your safety. Please feel free to let our constituent outreach team know how we can be of service to you, and thank you for your kindness.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Now, the question that I have is, Lau Lau, one word or two? I might need to have somebody that is of some kind of Polynesian Hawaiian descent to answer the question. Is it Lau Lau? Is that a one word? Is that one word, or is it two separate? One word Lau, the other word Lau. The reason it comes up in conversation, Mescla has got a special that they've got for the month of July. Actually, a couple of them. A medley of salmon, shrimp, scallops, and fresh spinach comprise this seafood Lau Lau they've got there, wrapped up in the tea leaves, steamed to order, topped with soy butter sauce. Ooh, I'm getting, oh my God. Did you when I said soy butter sauce, did you just not have that moment where, oh my God, that goes so well together? Soy butter sauce, a little bit of garlic in there?
That's nice, yeah. By the way, it's one word.
It is one word. And your choice of starch, visit Mescla in Hagåtña and now in Tumon at the Grand Plaza Hotel for reservations. The number's 969-2652. And by the way, the Mescla at the Grand Plaza Hotel, they got a place where you can sit, and they've got a bar. They got a stand-up bar. So if you're going to wait for somebody, you can go and wait for them there. It is the summer of Jeep over at Cars Plus. Wrap your hands around the wheel of a brand new Wrangler or a Compass or a Cherokee or a Grand Cherokee. 1.99% APR gets you on that vehicle. And then my friends over at Take Care are celebrating the Ray Gibson Show as well. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Any speaker, anytime. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
I got Gwen Timinglu there, and Manami Martin is online saying, good morning. This is clapping it up. It's nice to see you there, and good morning as well. And wondering, and it's got to be asked out loud, how much better could Guam be doing if Manami was at the South Pacific Games?
Oh, man, have you seen some of the South Pacific Games stuff?
Our guys, the boys volleyball and beat New Caledonia today, first time in like 6 years or something like that, and that's got Cos Endo is just over the rainbow on that.
Yeah, and it actually comes at a really good time because I think that they dropped their first match to Tonga, which of course Tonga, if they sound tall, they were much taller than our guys, so they gave us fits. But yeah, nice to see that our guys bounced back against New Caledonia. It's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, apparently, there was some kind of curse, like we couldn't beat them or something like that. But obviously, we sent some big stormtroopers down there and got that work done. Mixed reviews happening on tennis. Found out that Mason's unable to play. He's got something's wrong with his wrist. So the other Guam guys are playing. Don't know what the scores look like, but you can look all of that stuff up, right?
Yeah, Samoa. I mean, good luck looking because I got to really search and sift through here. But Samoa2019.ws. I do have this, though. The Guam women's basketball team came out strong after their first game. They beat Papua New Guinea 84-48. They ran to a 28-16 lead after the first quarter. They also got big contributions. Mia San Nicolas, who I believe is still in high school locally, and Kat Castro, and then Joy Pangilinan and Destiny Castro. Destiny Castro is we talked about her. She's been player of the week a couple times out at Chaminade for basketball.
Yeah, what I like is that they sunk their teeth into the necks of the opponents and did not let up.
Back in one of the newspapers is Guam lifters are racking up medals all over the place. Dayama Kama with medal haul after the Pacific Games weightlifting debut in Samoa. She's 17 silver medals in the snatch and total weight, as well as bronze medal in the clean and jerk in the 49-kilogram weight class. Of course, the 49-kilogram weight class, for those of you that are curious of what that is, that's like 17 gallons.
What did you say, 42, 49?
49-kilogram weight class.
Okay, yeah.
It's 150 pounds.
Yeah, and she did the clean and jerk, which, if you know what a clean and jerk is,
but she
very
looks
compound movement.
Take a look at she's a little girl.
She's very small.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
The training, I guess.
Yeah, training and smart lifting. I guess that's why they train. The Guam men's national basketball team, who are pretty. I don't know. I don't want to be too. Let's see, boisterous.
Boisterous?
Yes.
Be boisterous.
But I feel like that they are the favorite going into this. But that's my own opinion. I don't know if that's actually opinion. Either way,
sounding kind of homerish there, bro.
Yeah, but either way, well, because they're coming off of a good qualifying tournament in Thailand, and they also won the gold medal. I believe at the micro games they won the gold medal. So they started off to a good start, just like the ladies. They opened pool play of the Pacific Games huge
win over Samoa, the home team, 105-81. As let's see here, Darren Hunchova and J.P. Cruz led the team, scoring 22 and 16 points respectively. So the Guam men's team on the court also rolling on. So that's pretty good news too.
Well, we need to do better. We need to start getting some serious medals here. I've got from Saafi Mai. This is a screenshot that was captured by Dennis Santa Tomas and then sent to me. He's got the medal count here. New Caledonia in the lead. They've got 8 golds. Tahiti at number 4. Fiji at tied with Fiji for second place. They've got 4 apiece, and Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands, Samoa and Nauru and Kiribati are tied with 1, 2, 3 gold medals apiece. Guam, Wallis and Futuna and the Cook Islands are still goose eggs in terms of gold medals. New Caledonia, 7 silvers. They're in the lead there. Bronzes, New Caledonia has got 6 bronze, and that is in the lead there. The top medal getter in silver is Papua New Guinea with 10. Guam has got 5 silvers and 2 bronzes so far, for a total of 7 medals, and that's again against New Caledonia with 21 medals to their credit.
You know what was interesting is that the first ever Women's Rugby League Nines competition happened, and Fiji add to their gold medal, one of those gold medals you were talking about. The Fiji women won the first ever Pacific Games Women's Rugby Nines match. So they're the gold medalists there, because I know people like rugby, and also I found out it was not.
I still need to sit down. I need to go to a rugby game and sit down with somebody and have them explain it to me. Rugby is my mind is like the football version of what do you call it? Cricket.
Oh, right. Yes, I know what you mean.
Looks like baseball, but
baseball,
it's not.
Right? Yeah, very kind of similar, but very different, and very much its own game in the right. And also in Va'a, which is paddling, because I know people care about that. With gold for the women, Tahiti gets the Va'a 6 500 meter. So there you go.
No, if you want to really get confused, check out Australian rules football.
Yes, it's like rugby meets NFL.
No, my understanding with Australian rules football is you can actually use a bat.
Or a person. It just depends on how small they are.
Use people in their body parts to get the thing over the goal. Now, I'm not sure if this qualifies as a sport, but I got it in some of my online material, so I'm going to read it. A yoga studio in New York is offering a different kind of yoga. It's drunk yoga. Now, this could be the thing that gets men all over the country interested finally in yoga for a reason besides being in a room with hot, sweaty women wearing yoga pants.
Right.
So it's a yoga where you hold a glass of wine and drink. The 90-minute class, which is a real issue for me. 90 minutes is a long time for anything, including yoga. Proprietary moves like the corkscrew, where you spin around in a pretzel-like pose without taking your feet off the ground. There's also the twerking downward dog, which is exactly what it sounds like. Downward dog while you're shaking your butt, men.
Huh.
And there's wine. And I'm sure that we could make the argument that if there's wine, there should be beer.
But is it like painting? You know,
I don't know.
You know, when you paint with wine, is it like do you have to hold is it also part of the yoga class to be able to balance and not spill your drink?
It should be.
Right.
I think it should be. And some of the poses that are a little bit more difficult to get, you should be able to, instead of using a yoga cube, you'd use your wine glass or your beer bottle.
Because that's distracting. Because if you want to drink and you can't hold it, every couple minutes you just got to walk over, break your pose, and walk across everybody else who's in their pose. I
guess you get to do it with the wine or beer in hand.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Sounds weird. I mean, yoga's hard enough, and now you've got to throw in things that throw your equilibrium just a little bit out of whack.
Now this is one of those convoluted things here that I'm going to start on and end in a completely different place. But it'll be worth it because there's video.
Oh,
I've got video. There is
always like visuals
on Facebook an invitation that I've been sent to for an event in September. In fact, September 20th, as a matter of fact, of this year. And you have no idea what it is. And I'm not going to make you guess. The point of it all is to storm Area 51, to get as many people as possible. And there are already over 21,000 people that said that they're going to this event to storm Area 51.
The actual
storm. The idea is
Grom Lake, right?
They can't stop all of us.
Groom.
So
Groom.
Yeah, so the storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us. And 427,000 people are going or interested, including including people from Guam.
Really?
So I've put myself down as
Is James
as
Howard
interested.
going?
No, but Valine is going.
Oh, really?
Valine says she's going to this thing. So here it is. The guy says, I feel like we need to formulate a game plan. So I put this easy to follow diagram here for a proposed plan. The basic idea is that the Kyles form the front line. If we feed them enough cyclobin and Monster Energy and say everyone in camouflage is their stepfather and the entire base is made of drywall, then they will go berserk and become an impenetrable wall. Then the rock throwers will throw pebbles at the inevitable resistance. We don't want to hurt them. We just want to annoy them enough not to shoot the Kyles as often. While this is all happening, the 2 Naruto runner battalions will run full speed around the north and south flank, shadow clone jutsu, effectively tripling our numbers and overwhelm the base. P.S. Hello, U.S. government. This is a joke. I do not actually intend to go ahead with this plan. I just thought it would be funny and get me some thumbsy uppies on the internet. I'm not responsible if people actually decide to actually storm Area 51.
Well, it sounds like they're going to anyway. I don't know in that fashion.
But it got me. The guy's talking about a Naruto run, and I'm a runner.
Right.
I want to know, what is a Naruto run? Is there a specific way of doing a Naruto run that might help you evade capture and I don't know, bullets? And since we're talking about Area 51, laser ray guns.
What
Could
about,
be like
what
ray
about phasers?
Phaser kind of things.
Naruto. Now that's a reference to like cartoon or an anime.
Is it like an anime, right?
Yeah, it's an anime thing.
Manga.
So
Thank you.
I'm not sure about the audio here, so we'll leave the audio down. But I've got an image from YouTube where you can find literally images and videos of anything of people out doing Naruto running. Now, if you're an anime fan or you know exactly what I'm talking about, then you're going to get this. You've seen Naruto running. In fact, I think you see a lot of Naruto running in soccer. Like especially after a goal. Still don't know what I'm talking about. Let me play the video so that you can see it. Naruto runners, and they're about to ready, get set, and go. Naruto run. You see the distinction? It's regular running, but they put their arms flat against their back.
Right. Yeah.
That's the Naruto run.
And duck their head, kind of.
Duck their head. Running fast. Naruto running.
Kind of like those old hood emblems, right? Like remember those old Buicks or whatever that had.
Right. With the fins.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, it's got me thinking. maybe we do a 2K, 5K, but that's the thing is everybody has to run Naruto style because it seems to me that would be the ultimate equalizer. I mean, just how fast can you run Naruto running for 5K?
But the thing is, it's not like the high heel run because like the high heel run, you don't have to run in high heels until the very end, right? Like the last 10 feet, you have to run in high heels. You don't run the whole thing in heels.
So those are my contributions to us pretending to talk about sports today. Is there any big national sports that we've got to do? Otherwise, Renee's going to get mad at me again.
I mean, you're not going to know his name, but we have a new home run.
That never stopped me from being able to provide some kind of commentary.
We have a new home run derby champion.
Okay.
And I don't have
Hank Aaron?
And I don't have his name here right now.
Alonso.
Who?
Pete Alonso.
There you
Plays
go.
for the Mets.
Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso's the janitor over at Tokyo Tower in Harmon.
Well, now he's a baseball player in
How
New
about
York.
that?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, he cracked out of quite a few of them. But the guy who actually got most of the accolades was Guerrero Jr.
Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Yeah, who hit 99 home runs in the competition overall.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah, so that's why I kind of made news. If you hear anybody, Ray, talk about the home run derby, it's because Vlad Guerrero knocked out 99 home runs, but he didn't win. Because there were different brackets. So he had to go up against Jock Peterson, and Jock Peterson and Vlad Guerrero actually had to battle it out. I think they ended up putting out 40 apiece.
Yeah.
Right, but no W's.
Well, they had to beat each other. And then this other guy who came from a weaker bracket, I think he hit 20, and then he had to face off against Vlad Guerrero.
Interesting stuff here. All right, so I think that's all the big headline sports that we've got to talk about.
Actually, I
Plus the
got
local safety.
Guam Major League Baseball. They wrapped up the Rays finish as champions. They won Game 4, 8-5 last night, and they won the series 3-1. I don't have a lot of stats, but the winning pitcher was Paul Pangilinan. Got 7 Ks and a complete game. So
did he Naruto run?
I'm sure he did.
That's from now on. That's the thing. Is everybody? If you make a home run at the baseball game, you have to Naruto run all the way around.
Just everywhere.
I think they Naruto ran just because they don't have to play in August this time.
Funny. Right. They're
Two-time
done before
champions, by
Christmas.
the way. The Rays.
That's right, back-to-back.
Rays, back-to-back champions.
Way to go, and all without the help of the internet, and for at least a couple of weeks, Mark Colby calling the scores. 8:31 in the morning. That's all the time that we got to pretend to talk about sports. Blake Watson's going to go finish the morning show over on Star 101. If you love this, we do it every morning around this time. It's not your typical sports report because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about 99% of the time, and that's why I've got experts around to help me. Speaking of experts, Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post is coming up next.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it? I'll take a book club. Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Nice. Cosendo. Yeah, we ought to do something about this. I haven't seen that particular version of a Camelback, but it occurs to me that, it probably interchanged them one with the other. A wine Camelback pack. That would be a good thing. I've actually spent a lot of time with people that have got Camelbacks, and frankly, the only reason why I don't wear one, and I probably should. I've got my whenever I'm fast hiking or whatever, I've got my own hydration. I always feel like I would rather have a backpack that's got a little bit of room for stuff that I want to take on the trail. But I have not found a Camelback that has enough space for the stuff that I want to carry with me. GoPros and cameras and whistles and flare guns and regular guns and all of that stuff. That's the only reason why I don't own a Camelback. Nate Horn, with regard to the guys that are talking about making a mass attack on Area 51, he says they're aware Area 51 has machine guns, right? But if you're Naruto running, right, nobody's going to be able to catch you. Your profile changes when you're thinning yourself out. It probably could have saved a whole lot of lives if they'd a Naruto run onto the beaches at Normandy.
But I think their Powerball Z move will help them.
Definitely. And Smug Wimp says, I miss old-fashioned Darwinism. There used to be more of that kind of old-fashioned Darwinism floating around back in the day until they started cocooning and putting all of our children in bubble wrap. 8:33 in the morning, and about time now for our last look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: all but one of the correction officers charged in connection with a major contraband conspiracy at the prison are expected to plead guilty to misdemeanor charges. Former corrections officer Franklin Rosalind appearing before Superior Court Judge Anita Sokola yesterday. Rosalind's attorney, Anthony Perez, told the court that Rosalind has agreed to plead guilty to official misconduct as a misdemeanor. He's scheduled for a change of plea hearing on August 1st. Former corrections officer Furman Maratita also appearing before Judge Sokola yesterday. He pleaded guilty back in November 2017 to receiving bribes and possessing methamphetamine while employed as a guard at DOC. He agreed to cooperate in the prosecution of the other suspects. Judge Sokola told Maratita's attorney, Doug Moylan, she just wanted Maratita to know that all those that were there as guards at DOC before are getting official misconduct. So your client is getting the worst of all of them, said the judge. Maratita's sentencing is still pending. The Guam Environmental Protection Agency has launched an investigation into the dumping of foamy water from drums into a storm drain at the Guam International Airport. The drums once contained the firefighting chemical AFFF, which has PFAS chemicals in it, a known health threat, which have been found in 3 of Guam's drinking wells. The dumping was captured in photos obtained by the Guam Daily Post. Firefighters at the airport were filling the used drums with water and using them as target practice during training on the water hose turrets on the firefighting trucks. Airport Executive Director Tom Atta has acknowledged that there might have been traces of the chemical in those used drums. GEPA spokesman Nick Lee telling the Guam Daily Post that the agency expects to conduct interviews with airport firefighters and review the airport policies, as well as conduct a thorough on-site investigation. Joseph McDonald, the former chief prosecutor for the Attorney General of Guam, has been selected as the Port of Guam's in-house legal counsel. The announcement was made at a special port board meeting yesterday afternoon by Port General Manager Rory Respicio, who said McDonald will take on his new role on August 6. Basil O'Malley was appointed chief prosecutor after Levin Camacho took over as Attorney General at the start of the year. McDonald has been a staff attorney at the AG's office since. McDonald will join the Port Authority with an annual pay of about $119,000. In a cost-saving move, Respicio proposed hiring in-house legal counsel when he took over at the port in January. Respicio has previously said that former legal counsel Mike Phillips and his private law firm had been paid about $70,000 a month by the port, and that amounted to over $6 million in legal costs for the Port of Guam over the past 8 years. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Good plan. It's 8:37 in the morning. Thanks very much, Kevin. We'll call that iConnect time. Swing by an iConnect or give them a ring at 888-8888 and ask them how they're going to help you save some money on your mobile and internet plans.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA, 8A, and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
How is that possible? Tell just a little bit of a story before I get into the Wendy's deal here. I was having dinner last night with some friends over at Bontai, going away party for CJ. And that was an adventure in and of itself. But one of the features of the dinner was a friend of a friend was there having dinner with her dog, brand new Australian Shepherd. And I'm going to put a picture of, it's not the dog that was at the dinner last night, but that there on Facebook Live is an Australian Shepherd. It is the cutest, fluffiest, friendliest dog that you've ever seen in your life. It has no tail. It's got a little bunny rabbit tail on the back of it. Just a good-looking dog. Just a handsome animal. And nobody could concentrate while the dog was around because everybody wanted to hold it to be close. It was like the Elvis Presley of dogs. But that's not the WTF that's going in my mind here this morning. I wanted to show you a picture of an Australian Shepherd. So I opened up the Google thing and typed in AUSTR, and it automatically filled in Shepherd at the end of it.
Yeah.
How did Google know?
That just happens to be...
How did they know? It was in my head. I had not said it before.
Yeah. No, it's just in the algorithm. Most people that search for AUST at the beginning looking for that.
An Australian Shepherd.
People like dogs.
It baffles me. I mean, it's that good. It's
it means
like somebody at Google was at the dinner last night.
Yeah, basically, it means you're just like everybody else.
I guess. All right. Well, that's what we got then. Anyway, 8:39. Berry Blast. That's the name of the salad that they've got waiting for you over at Wendy's. It's got strawberries, blueberries, snozberries, raspberries, and no, it's the raspberry vinaigrette.
Yeah.
So you're getting a lot of flavors here. Very complex salad, if you will, because it's got the salad base on it. Then we start throwing some berries in it. Then feta cheese, and then grilled chicken. Now, if you're a fan of grilled chicken, awesome. Personally, I like the one that's fried spicy. So I asked them to change that, and they do it every single time. They'll do it for you as well. Make it your way. Make it fresh every day at Wendy's.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
Hi, I'm Jerry Roberts, and every day on The Ray Gibson Show, I get to comment on the incredibly diverse, fun, challenging, sometimes frustrating, often exciting, but always interesting world of work. I hope you'll be there with us.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at GuamTraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
Ugly traffic, or it looks like ugly traffic in the downtown Hagåtña area, right around McDonald's and Wendy's area. Traffic in both directions, moving slowly. Traffic at the intersection of there and the O'Brien Drive. Likewise, that's a suck intersection for Hagåtña, I'll tell you what. The other intersections also not doing necessarily their job. Lots of traffic in front of Navy Hospital right now. That's working through around the Adelup area. There's some traffic that you will see there. We're in the Pacific National Historical Park and everything on the way into Big Navy. Navy is starting to look a little bit busy for you right about now. 8, 10, and 16. Not much going on there, but you will see some traffic on 16 as you make your way towards it. Route 8's kind of ugly right up until you get past that one good turn that gets you into Tiedzen. At 10 and 15, moving, but the intersections will slow you down. And Route 4, like I said, looks good right up until you get into the downtown area. 19 away from the top of the hour. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 data-to-go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is data-to-go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Restaurants are fun, aren't they? Like I said, went to Bantai last night with some friends, and originally started to look like it was going to be a small, intimate group, maybe a half a dozen people. And before I was done, it was about 3 dozen people before it was all. Poor little girl over there. Her name is Liv. And if you see Liv, give her a big tip. The next time you're over at Bantai, if Liv serves you, give her a bigger tip than usual, because she was definitely able to put up with the crowd. And before too much longer, I think we had all of the tables that were outside, and all of the servers were working our tables as well. It was real nice there. And I tell you what, it's nice pretty much everywhere else you go. I ran into a couple of places the other day, and they had on the appetizer list fried avocados. Didn't that sound good? Fried avocados. And I'm not a big culinary kind of guy, but I was willing to take a chance on that. So we made the order, and the girl says, we're out of avocados. I said, how can it be that Guam is in the middle of avocado season? Every avocado tree on Guam has got I got people dropping off avocados to me like the way that we were dropping betel nut to me before. It's just all over the place. And mango trees are bearing avocados. There's just so much of that out there. Just saying. And I wanted to say that she was a good server. Went outside, found an avocado tree, and sure enough, fixed me some up. But it didn't quite work out that way. But I'm going to go back. I'm going to give them a second chance, because it does actually sound good. Avocado, fried avocado is good for you. 888-825-888-TALK. Mentioned this a little bit earlier, because I think that there's just some weirdness that is going on around here with how we are treating cannabinoid oils and CBD products here on Guam, derivatives of hemp, etc. For a while, it looked like there was going to be a retail revolution. Clint was there. We watched this. It looked like there was going to be a retail revolution. Every pop-up, every little store, places where they got vape, whatever, gas stations, everybody was looking into the possibility of adding some kind of CBD product to their mix. And then, bang, all of a sudden we start hearing about a variety of these same businesses that were being told and then having their CBD merchandise confiscated. And we're all going, what the heck is that all about? And a little bit of weird kind of finger-pointing going on. And now that we have a better sense of where the initial instructions and concerns lie, the Attorney General's office, the question is, what do we, and that's all of us collectively, including the legislature, do next? Clint Rigel's on the line. You might remember Clint Rigel is the guy that spearheaded the idea that we ought to be able to enjoy, for whatever purposes, marijuana in this town. And then you got Tina Rose Munoz Barnes, the Speaker of the Legislature, acting Lieutenant Governor, asking questions, probing, because she's concerned about people's access to CBDs for medicinal purposes. What's going on is the question, and Clint Rigel's going to get an answer. Good morning, Senator.
Hi, good morning, Ray.
How's your beard coming along? You know, do you have your beard exactly the way you like it, or do you every once in a while, just for no reason, start to mess around with it?
My beard? Oh, yeah. Well, I changed the length of it. That's all. So sometimes I'll grow it out. It'll be a lot thicker, and then I'll have it trimmed down and make it shorter. That's the only thing I really do.
Now, do you go see somebody to do that, or do you do it yourself?
Yeah, no, Dion at Couture.
I got to write that down. Dion at Couture.
Yeah, he's great.
Okay.
He trims my beard up and everything.
Yeah, I think somebody had advised, when I first started growing mine, I think somebody had advised me to go see somebody like that and just get the basic shape down and then have him teach you how to do the trimming.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Then, other than that, I mean, I also this is funny, but I have like a beard products and a beard brush.
Nothing wrong with that. I got beard product. I got beard products too. I got the little brush. And it's the last thing I do before I leave the house is I give the beard just a little bit. Now the other thing, and I'll get to the CBD stuff in a second. We're just a couple of boys, and we're boys that grew up without beards. We didn't have beards. When we were growing up, and for a long time, radio, television, and stuff, we didn't necessarily wear them. And now that we're not necessarily front and center on that all the time, feel kind of groovy to have a beard. But anyway, so what I got is I've got mine's in a little bit of a dimensions, right? So I keep my mustache fairly thick and long, but I trim the sides and the chin, so it's got a little bit more depth to it.
Yeah. That's one way to do it. It's all preference. There's so many different styles you can do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just laughing because I can get into this beard talk stuff, actually.
Crazy. Well, some guys that talk about cigars a lot. Some guys that talk about whiskeys a lot, or beers a lot, when we get together. Because it's still kind of weird for me to talk politics with you, because if we talked politics before, it was always kind of analytical about, well, gee, what are these guys doing now, or what's happening there, as opposed to now I'm talking to somebody who's actually in politics day to day. So it's
right.
fun the way our conversations change around. Anyway, beer summit soon, by the way.
Sounds good.
On the CBD thing, you got an informational briefing coming up next Tuesday.
Yes.
What is it that now? It's not. I know you better than to say this is a fishing expedition, but what is it that we're looking for? And in your eyes, what is the win? What are we going to determine to be a win after we've got the information we need?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the biggest reason I decided to hold and just for the record, I was planning on holding the informational briefing prior to the letters that went out today, this week from the governor, et cetera. I was talking about this informational briefing last week. It just so happened that I believe the governor, lieutenant governor, as well as the AG, everyone sort of started weighing in with these letters and stuff this week. And I think the reason they're doing that is because they must be getting the same phone calls I've been getting. So I've been getting phone calls, messages to my office from people basically saying, hey, we need help. We don't know what's going on with these CBD products. Mm-hmm. So different people who are importing CBD products are calling me, and they'll have different stories. One guy will say, oh, I was told all I needed was this. And then another guy says, oh, I was told all I needed was this. And it would come. And then another guy would say, oh, well, I had all of that stuff, and they still stopped it. So there just seems to be a lot of confusion over what's allowed, how someone can import something in, and what they need to import CBD products to Guam.
Yeah.
So in light of all the different the confusion, the sort of, as you mentioned earlier, like the finger pointing, the he said, she said, at one point I kept hearing it was public health, and then public health's in the news saying it's not us. And so I really just want to bring everyone to the table: public health, the AG, customs, even the U.S. Postal Service, because I understand the Postal Service, U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Postal Service has their own sort of guidelines. So really just bring everyone down, sit them down at the table, and then just hash this all out, pardon the pun, but just figure this all out and say, all right, what exactly is required? First of all, what does the law say we're allowed? And that's where I want to start with the AG or someone from the AG's office to clarify what does the Farm Bill allow with regards to hemp and hemp products. Then from there, let's talk to customs and figure out, okay, what exactly are you guys allowing in and what are you stopping? And same thing with the public health. What are their regulations? Department of Agriculture, U.S. Guam's local Department of Agriculture, as well as U.S. Department of Agriculture. Just sort of figure this whole thing out.
Right,
what exactly are people allowed to bring in, what they're not allowed to bring in? And if there's some problem that can be fixed with a local law, then I'm more than willing to introduce a local law to fix things, a local bill to fix things. But if it's not necessary, hopefully it's just a matter of people figuring out what the federal law and regulations state and coming up with sort of a standard operating procedure, or at least something where everyone's on the same page. Because my understanding is different people say different things.
Yeah, well, it sounds like, and there's different ways that you can, quote, bring the product in. I mean, as somebody that travels, maybe I'm going to be in Los Angeles. In fact, I know somebody that's in L.A. right now making her way back, and she stopped at one of these pop-ups where they've got all kinds of CBD products, and she's asking me which ones I want. The answer is all. Just get me one of each, and I'll pay you back later. But now the question is, can she bring those into Guam? I mean, she's going to get stopped at the airport, and if they look in her bags and find these CBD products, will they be confiscated on her arrival? And in fact, I know people that have had their CBD products confiscated on arrival.
Exactly, and that's why I want to bring everyone to the table, because there doesn't seem to be a clear direction or statement as to what can be brought in and what can't. What Customs is going to confiscate and what they're not.
But what doesn't make sense to me, Clint, is that we've got laws on the books now, laws on the local books that have basically decriminalized marijuana, and if we're worried that THC, there might be a little bit of THC in the CBD stuff, why would that make a difference? I mean, even if there was enough to get somebody high, we've got measures in place right now that, for all intents and purposes, have legitimized the use of marijuana / THC for recreational and medicinal purposes. So why would it make any difference at all?
Right. I mean, I agree. I don't. I mean, that's what makes it complicated, I guess. Okay, so I think part of the issue is, Customs really looks at enforcing federal laws as well. Customs enforces federal laws for contraband and things passing across state lines. And so this, I guess, if it's THC is still not allowed to cross state lines and go into other states, et cetera. So even if states have legalized THC, they're supposed to keep it in their state that they legalize it. And so that's
but there are companies across the country. If you listen to talk radio in the middle of the night, about every other break, there's going to be a commercial for somebody that's selling a CBD related product. And these are nationwide. Call 800-1-800 this or ClintRigel.com for your CBD product. We'll ship it overnight. So it's not a question of crossing state lines.
Oh, yeah, correct. For CBDs, there should be nothing preventing them from crossing state lines for CBDs. That I agree. I'm talking with THC. So I guess that's the issue.
No, but they freely admit that there's THC in their products, but such a small amount that it was guaranteed not to get you high.
I think that's what part of the confusion is, and that's what I've heard is that. So I heard that, and that's why I want to bring everyone to the table, so I'm not going off hearsay, but these are the complaints I'm getting in my office. One guy called and said that he had products come in. He had a certification on it that said this is CBD. It's lab tested. That it's to be considered a CBD or hemp product, it has to be less than I believe it's 0.3% or 0.03. I don't remember if it's 0.03 or 0.3. I have to double check, but it's like 0.3%. I believe THC is the threshold. So the guys had all the paperwork saying it's from a facility that gets tested. That these products are all below that threshold. But he said that Customs did their own test on it. And their test flagged it for THC because apparently Customs test doesn't show the percentage if it's like that at that threshold. They can't.
It's on or off. There's THC or there's not THC.
It's on or off. So they clicked on and they said, okay, we're stopping it. So I don't know if that's the case. I haven't spoken to Customs about it. This was just one person, constituent who called my office with this story. So that's why I want to bring everyone to the table so we can flush all of this out and figure out exactly what they're doing and what we can do to fix it.
Is there any way that a conversation can be made right now that pending any other administrative process or procedure, anybody kind of grandfather what's already here, so that businesses that have already made an investment in these CBD products can continue to sell them until their product has been exhausted? I mean, a lot of people have put some serious money and thought into business plans that are based on CBD, primarily because it's nationwide legal.
Yeah, I mean, even CVS and these other chains, these drugstore chains are carrying it as well. These over-the-counter drugstore chains are carrying it as well. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if there's any what can be done, but that's what I hope to figure out in the public hearing. If we can figure out exactly what needs to be done, I would like to help them out if there's some way we can grandfather it in. Absolutely. I've spoken to some business owners who tell me that they're really frustrated because they did invest, it's a significant amount into some CBD products, and they're being held right now. So one business owner was very, very frustrated and bent my ear for quite the time about his products being stuck up at Customs. So that's why I want to have this roundtable so we can figure it out.
All right, a couple of other notes here. It looks like you're going to go hiking with the rest of the other members of the 35th Guam Legislature, accepting an invitation to go. Are you looking at the tree, or are you guys going to be going and looking at the construction site? Because my understanding is you're just going to look at the tree.
I'm not sure exactly where we're going to be. I just know it's going to be in that general area. I was invited. I was asked. The speaker, I think, is the one coordinating it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was asked if I go. I said, sure, I'll go along and see what's up there. I'd like to see things for myself firsthand. So I know the tree is part of it. I'm not sure how much more other than the tree we're going to be seeing. So
right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, continued protection around the tree, hiking groups into small groups to facilitate continued protection around the tree, and that's my understanding of where it is that you're going to be going. What are you looking for on that one?
Me personally?
Yeah. What do you want to see? I mean, you're going on a field trip up to the firing range construction area. You want to see what's happening with the tree, but what else are you going to be looking for? What?
Well, I mean, whatever else we can see up there. I mean, if there's any cultural sites, I would be looking at that too, if we're able to see that. But again, I don't know what they're going to show us. They might just show us the area around the tree. Then that I definitely like to see and see exactly what they're doing protection-wise for the tree and the buffer zone that they said they have up there. So I just, it's just really just to see exactly for myself firsthand what they're doing up there, what's going on up there.
What were your thoughts when you heard that Shoshana the admiral had denied the governor's request to put everything on pause for 6 months?
Sure, yeah. Well, I think it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate. It shows, it shows that we don't have much of a say in things. I mean, we can ask, and then, ultimately the local government is told no when it asks. So I think that, first of all, is an unfortunate thing, and it's something that we all sort of knew. The governor spoke about that when she was talking to a lot of the groups that are against the construction of the firing range. When she met with them, one of the things she said something to the effect of, "What can I do? I can't do anything." So, I mean, this kind of shows that, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, I wish they would have considered it more. And so for me...
Well, I mean, if we're talking about mitigation and the protection of the tree, they've been working on that since 1998. And they believe they've done a pretty good job because they've got the last one on Guam on military property, as opposed to these other versions of the Tree of Life that apparently people have been either knocking down or typhoons have knocked them down. Nobody from around here has taken any interest in the tree until they found one at the firing range.
Yeah, well, I think it was until they found out there wasn't many left, because I remember they had this tree on Naval Base Guam as well, but I guess those all died too. So, because I remember seeing one down at Naval Base Guam near the, what's that, Obispo Beach? I might be saying it wrong.
It could be.
One of the beaches on there, they had this tree there. So it's just something, the tree's been dwindling in numbers.
Well, here, but they've got seedlings, and we can go up to Rhoda and pull some down from there. One last time, I'm going to let you run on this. I just want you to be aware of it. But I'm getting a lot of heat email from people with pictures of the notice to court patrons that effective August 1st, court clearance fees will increase from $10 to $20 there. That is going to be a constituent issue, and I suggest you start looking into that.
Yeah, well, that's something new. So court patron fees and fees. Well, that's something I guess I could talk to Senator Therese Salahi. She has oversight of the judiciary.
I'll bounce it to you right now, because I'll bounce it to you right now. I got the news breathing down my neck. I'll see you soon. Well, beer summit, bro. And tell your wife thanks for watching the show.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Thanks.
It's 9 o'clock. We're KUSG. I got you.
A legal setback. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. As the Trump administration fights to put a citizenship question on the 2020 census, a federal judge with a key ruling.
The Department of Justice decided that it was going to put a new legal team in charge of getting that question on the census. The new legal team would be from the Civil Division, and James Burnham, who had been heading it up for the Department of Justice, was taken off of the case. However, when it was brought before a court in New York City, the judge denied the motion to change the legal teams. The Attorney General William Barr saying that he believes that there is a way that they can get that question on the census.
Fox's John Roberts at the White House. After much wrangling, including last month's visit to Capitol Hill by 9/11 first responders battling illness, the House has announced a vote Friday on the bill that would continue to fund their health care. Rumblings continue among Democrats for Labor Secretary Alex Acosta to step down.
As calls mount for Labor Secretary Alex Acosta to resign over his handling as a U.S. attorney of an earlier sex crimes case involving financier Jeffrey Epstein, the president said he's on the fence regarding Acosta's future.
I've known him as being somebody that works so hard and has done such a good job. I feel very badly about that whole situation, but we're going to be looking at that and looking at it very closely.
Acosta signed off on a plea deal that led to 13 months in county jail for Epstein at a time when he had been facing the possibility of life in prison.
Fox's John Decker. A county clerk in western New York has filed a lawsuit challenging a new state law authorizing driver's licenses for immigrants who are in the country illegally. Erie County Clerk Michael Kearns filed a federal court challenge. The suit seeks a court injunction blocking the law while its constitutionality is reviewed by the court. Supporters of the measure, which passed last month, say they expected a lawsuit. This is Fox News.
Weekday shopping just got exciting. Join the Agania Shopping Center's Shop and Win on Weekdays promo. Shop or dine at any ASC store or restaurant on weekdays from now till October 31st. Show your receipt at the ASC booth and win instantly. Every $20 spent gets you an entry form to win big at the monthly draws, including round-trip tickets to Manila, $500 ASC gift certificates, and more. See posters and print ads for more. Special thanks to Sky Zone, Fundamental Riders, Vince Jewelers, and Wendy's.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Police in Cleveland working to find out who may be responsible after 4 bodies are found on the city's east side.
One of the victims, a man, was found in a vacant lot. He died of a gunshot wound. In a nearby home, the other 3 bodies, a woman and 2 children, were discovered. Investigators say the killings are connected. Cleveland Police Chief Calvin Williams says they are making progress in getting answers.
We're hoping to solidify those leads and get some folks in jail for this heinous crime here real soon.
Police have not identified the victims, nor have they said how the 3 inside the home died. Other family members were seen in the area, emotionally distraught. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
The Newman's Own Foundation says it's removed Chief Executive Officer and President Bob Forrester amid allegations of inappropriate behavior. Newman's Own was founded by Paul Newman in 1982. He gives all profits from the sale of its food products to charity. Allegations over changes to baseball. Now it's changing MLB.
MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred telling reporters Tuesday that Houston Astros pitcher Justin Verlander is incorrect in his belief that baseballs have been juiced to accommodate home run hitters. Manfred saying, quote, baseball has done nothing, given no direction for an alteration in the baseball. The flaw in logic is that baseball wants more home runs, end quote. That sentiment was echoed Tuesday by former Commissioner Bud Selig in an appearance on Mornings with Maria on the Fox Business Network.
I saw what Justin said. I've talked to Commissioner Manfred a lot about this and other people in baseball. They don't believe the ball is juiced.
The MLB Players Association standing by Verlander and other pitchers, noting clear changes to the ball. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Locals in upstate New York expressing concerns about the possibility of bringing the Woodstock 50 festival to a local racetrack. The Oneida County Sheriff told the town board meeting in Vernon it would be impossible to ensure public safety with only 40 days notice. But organizers pulled out at that location. They say they're working with officials to ensure safety. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Hoffaday, this is Congressman Nicholas. Our office is currently visiting our villages, providing contact information for our office and taking any inquiries we may be of service with. All vehicles and staff are appropriately identified for your safety. Please feel free to let our constituent outreach team know how we can be of service to you, and thank you for your kindness.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Portions of the Ray Gibson Show being brought to you by Micronesia Renewable Energy. You know, there's never been a better time to go solar, especially now we got batteries. 632-2613 for a free consultation. Actually, maybe we ought to think about it in terms of it's not the solar business anymore. We're in the battery business, and the batteries to get recharged by the sun, save you some money on your power bills. It's also brought to you by APL Global Presence with a local home. Guys over at Ruby Tuesdays inviting you in for happy hour tonight, 4 to 6 p.m., and you got select draft beers, wine, sangrias, the Tipsy Palmer, or Ruby Relaxer, $5. Apps are $5 or less as well. Happy hour at Ruby Tuesday tonight. And do that after you do your test drive with the brand new Jeep Wrangler. It's the summer of Jeep at Cars Plus, Motor Trend's SUV of the year. Plus, they've got Compasses, Cherokees, and Grand Cherokees. Financing as low as 1.99%. Take a test drive today at Cars Plus.
The Ray Gibson Show, bringing you closer to the action. This is The Point, Guam's FM News Talk Superstation.
That's the nicest thing I'm going to see this morning, and I will be as gracious as possible here. Claire Lee on Facebook Live says, love your show. Claire, I'm glad that you feel that way about the program. The fact is, I'd do this for free if I wasn't getting paid to do it. I love doing the show. I like coming in here every morning, and I never know where the show is going to go. We got an idea, at 6 o'clock after we've read all the newspapers and seen all the TV show scripts from the newscast the night before, and I've got the clippings and I got the Facebooky things. I don't know what's going to happen here, but at the end of 4 hours, it's amazing how quickly things have gone. And how fast the show has gone. It's got to be the quickest 4 hours in broadcast radio ever. I love being here doing this, so the feeling is very, very mutual. Also getting word here, what do we got? The lady who's watching the program from Off Island, Christina White. All this crime is so sad. I grew up in Guam in the 80s and 90s. I'm so hurt to hear how much violence and damage is happening in my home. I'm with you, Christina. It's absolutely heartbreaking. One of the big problems that we've got here is there's a big meth problem it just seems like everybody is looking the other way on. There are all kinds of things that they're talking about over at the legislature, and none of it seems to me, is going to help address the problem that we have with crystal methamphetamine on Guam. I don't know how to get rid of the problem. I remember in the 90s when it first started blossoming up, and people said, "Wow, this is bad. We better get a handle on this." Chris, we've lost a generation of young people. We've lost a generation of older people as well. If you know anything about crystal methamphetamines, you know that there's no target audience here. There's no 16 to 35. I mean, it's everybody. There are people of all age groups, all political stripes, all gender stripes. Anywhere in the social strata here on Guam that may be having problems with crystal methamphetamine and don't have the means to be able to get out from under it. And in some cases, the best way to get out from under your meth addiction is leave, because you can't do it here. Because it takes such a hold on you here. You'll steal from yourself. You'll steal from your family. They'll kick you out. You could try to live with somebody else, steal from them in order to support your daily habit. And in a lot of cases, the smart thing is go someplace where nobody knows you. You don't know anybody. You don't know where the next fix is going to come from. And maybe that's going to save your life. But you can't stay here. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't have the means to get out of here and solve some of these problems for themselves. And like I said, government seems to be incapable of doing it. I don't know that we've ever had the resources to deal with regular mental health issues, never mind the ones that are brought on by methamphetamine and what I consider to be a problem with alcohol. And, it's hard for me to get all lectury about it. Anybody knows me knows I love my beer. But I also try to consider myself a responsible drinker, try to know when to say when and how much is enough. And if somebody were to say, we got to put some rules on this. From now on, if you want to drink, you're going to have to get it. If you want to buy it at the store, you'll have to get it like before 9, because we're closing the liquor part at 9. And you can't buy any more until, say, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock tomorrow. Lengthen that time period. Make it a little bit inaccessible for people that have a hard time controlling their alcohol consumption, controlling who they are after they drink. There are some people they should never drink a drop of alcohol because they turn into the biggest jerks there are in the history of Guam jerks. there is an active conversation going on about the idea that maybe what we ought to do is have liquor stores, i.e. government-run liquor stores. It's done in some places. I don't know that I like the idea.
No, well, I don't know about government-run liquor stores, but you can have private enterprise liquor stores that sell specifically liquor, and but they're guided by certain rules and regulations. That's exactly the way it is in Texas.
Yeah. So
Not that Texas is better. I'm just saying that's what I'm used to.
That's the way it works there. And some people have even had that conversation around here, where there would be a government-run store, a government-licensed facility.
But here's
and so if you screw up, I mean, if you get caught selling Micronesians alcohol after 9 o'clock at night, then they'll yank your license. You're out of business.
Yeah, the problem is it only applies to liquor. So beer and wine can still be sold at stores and convenience stores, and that's where they've got to tighten down on the individual management of these stores and make sure that they are following the rules. But to take liquor out of the mom and pop stores, that's absolutely a great idea. Just beer only.
Got Lola Calvo online. Nice to see you there. Mingo Reese, Sandra De Leon. It's the law in some states, and that's a great idea. And Nate Horn says, even if you get in trouble, DOC's got a supply for you. That is the sad one, isn't it? Texas isn't. Joe Cruz says, Texas isn't better. Spoiler alert. Oh, them's fighting words. I guarantee it. 9 to 11 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. Oh, this is going to be a delightful conversation. Lillian Paris Posadas from Guam Memorial Hospital on the line. Good morning. How you doing there, nurse?
Good morning. Hi.
Hi, nice to hear from you. I don't generally bug you because I know how busy you guys are over at the hospital. But I saw this come out in the last couple of days, and I did want to make sure that I had a chance to talk to you and find out about what it is exactly that you're looking for and whether or not you might have access to funds to be able to buy it. You put out a request for information for an electronic health record system at GMH. I'm delighted to see that first step.
Yes. And, this is something that we presented to the legislature when we had our budget hearing for Budget 2020. Our current electronic health record system, EHR, is administered by Cantata, and it's called Optimum. We were informed by Cantata that they are going to sunset this system by next year, December, and so that just gives us then the prompt to then we need to look for another electronic health system that will fit our needs here at the hospital. So we're at the analysis and the exploration phase. We're looking, and so that's why we sent out that RFI to see what vendors are available or are willing to then demonstrate to us or show us their product for an electronic health system specifically for a hospital. But we also want to make sure we define our specifications, our needs for GMH, because we are a public hospital, and so each hospital is different and unique. So we want to make sure that this electronic health system can be, configured to our needs here at the hospital. That will then, increase the efficiency and the effectiveness and the usability for the physicians and for the nurses and for everyone who needs to access the patient records electronically.
Well, I mean, the patients themselves, there are systems like that. I was talking yesterday when I was riffing on this. I was talking about being at St. Luke's and a little bit of paperwork that I started with, and then they plugged that into the system, and that married up with records that I had from a couple of years ago, my other executive checkup that I had there, and that information was able to follow me, and everywhere I went, there was either a pad or a terminal that somebody would type into, and every part of the procedure, right down to how many things went on my chest for the EKG, on my stress test, or if there was some kind of consumable, that was noted down so that they had a pretty good idea of what hospital resources I used, what hospital resources I went through, and at which point they could take it to my insurance company and bill for. That's in my mind, that's the important thing is it creates another level of efficiency in your billing and reporting so you can get paid and paid faster.
Right. And not just efficiency, but accuracy.
Yes.
Yeah, right. And so that's what we're looking for, the electronic health system, record system that links and is interconnected. And like you say, wherever you go, they can pull up your record. So, that's the electronic health record system that we are looking for. And so with this RFI, hopefully that we can get, several vendors, and we will look at their product And, we've got our IT team, our IT experts who can then help us. We are going to have a project manager to guide us through this and make sure that we, identify everything, every issue that we need to make sure gets, addressed, and that we figure this out before we, procure.
Yeah. What do you have in mind for a budget for something like this? I was thinking somewhere between $20 and maybe $25 million to start with a system that you can scale up.
You hit it right on the dot. And so when we presented that in our 2020 budget, before the senators, they were kind of like, well, we don't think we have that $21 million, Lillian, that we can give you. But I said, but, senators, we need to have it. And so maybe we don't need the $21 million up front.
Right.
But this is what we're looking for, that, throughout the years that we have the system, we're going to need to continue making the payments to get the support and whatever it is that we need to, tweak if it needs to be tweaked. But initially, probably we will need $5-10 million to get it going, and and which I think is more realistic. But yes, we've requested that in our budget.
Are there grant dollars that might be available for you from the federal government, or maybe even some private foundations that would like to help? Is that part of the search?
We're looking for that too. Yes, we are. We were just talking about it a couple of days ago that we need to try and find some source of other sorts of funding, such as grants.
Yeah, well,
so we're looking at every stone that we can turn.
Yeah, unfortunately, there are present needs at Guam Memorial Hospital: elevator, roof, doors, things like that you need to keep track of. If for no other reason, because the Joint Commission is watching. CMS has got concerns about Guam Memorial Hospital. When's the last time you heard from CMS? Are we in the clear on that yet?
We have. They approved they were here April 29th through May 3rd, and they did the preliminary exit conference, and we received the official statement of deficiency report not too long after that, and we submitted within the 10 days requirement. We submitted our plan of corrective action. We had a conference call with them in last month on June, and they accepted our plan of corrective action. So our certification, CMS certification, continues. We will continue to receive federal funds.
Okay, and have you felt the uptick in the funding since they have rebased the calculations on Medicaid reimbursement?
Yeah.
Yes. I like the way you say yes. We feel that.
Yeah, we have received, and it really has helped us tremendously in terms of paying our vendors and making sure we pay down what our vendor accounts are and what we owe, and we're making payroll.
Right, making payroll. That's the most, and all of the payroll, not just the net payroll.
Correct. All of the payroll. We're paying retirement. We're paying our revenue and tax, what we owe. Yes.
Yeah, because otherwise, Paula Bamba, she's got your phone number, right?
Yes, she does. They all have my number. They all have my email. So, yes.
I want to say, keep me posted on what's happening with this electronic health record system. I really think that's going to be a game changer. I think it will make it so that you'll be able to get paid faster by the people that will pay you, less urgent documentation issues that you've got at the hospital. I think it'll be a convenience for the patients if they're able to access their records and their other caregivers, that use Guam Memorial Hospital.
Right.
Are you getting more baby business now that GRMC isn't in that game anymore?
Well, we have increased. We've seen an increase, absolutely. Definitely we have. I can't give you the numbers right now, but I can get that to you. In fact, that's what I was trying to get, wanting to get was, how many deliveries a month we have. And so I can get that to you. But yes, we have increased. Are
you feeling the need? A friend of mine was in for surgery the other day, and thought that she was going to be lined up to get in all done and scrubbed early. And as it turns out, it was a late procedure because your surgical arena was in such hot use. You get the feeling like maybe you need to put together a couple more operating rooms?
Well, we do have four suites, but one room, there's some problems with the air handling unit.
Yikes.
And the ventilation in it. And then we're still struggling with some of the equipment. And we are we've been recruiting operating room scrub techs because we were short of those. And so, but we are back up into operating using 3 rooms.
Gotcha. Hey, whenever you get a chance, you swing by the radio station. Love to spend more time getting caught up on what's going on with the hospital. Generally, it's one of those things where it just kind of chugs along in the background unless there's some kind of emergency pops up. And so I'm glad to hear these days that there is not so much going on, and you've got enough time in your bandwidth to be able to look at something like the health record system. If I can be of any assistance in just making sure that the bias is moving towards that purchase, you keep me in the loop, all right?
I sure will.
All right, Lillian, appreciate your time. Go back to work. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, thanks, Sue.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. Hospital Administrator, the CEO of Guam Memorial Hospital is Lillian Perez-Posadas, and that is the good news. We were chasing this around for the last couple of days because I think it is a big story here that they're about ready to start figuring out how we're going to take a bite of that apple. They've got IT guys. I talked to one of the IT guys there once upon a time here on this radio station about some of the needs that they have. And imagine, you've got an old kind of manual, kind of almost feels like DOSy Windows 95 system, and you're trying to conduct billing operations, and you're sending invoices out to people. Nomenclature changes, the rates change, the reimbursement rate changes, the way the government refers to things changes, and unless you've got a system that will help you keep up with that kind of thing, you're going to have a hard time getting paid because there's every invoice that goes out is subject to some kind of a challenge from whoever it is that you're sending it to. And if we've got a system that is up to speed, up to date, less manual, and more automatic, and certainly configurable to our needs, I think that's one of the things that will make the most sense. I didn't ask because I didn't want to muddy the waters too much in the conversation, but one of the things that I'd like to see in a new computerized health record system at Guam Memorial Hospital is the one where it ties in. You can send every day a note to the Department of Revenue and Taxation, and every day say these people did not pay for their stay at Guam Memorial Hospital. They did not pay for the Band-Aids. They did not pay for the Tylenol. Somebody stole the blanket. And we would like you to garnish their tax refunds as a result of these non-payments. And in that way, you want to talk about being able to get some kind of collections, because there's so many people that go to Guam Memorial Hospital and consider it as public hospital, right? Public means we don't have to pay. Public means everything is free, right? No. It's not supposed to mean that. So in my mind, I think there might be a cleaner connection that we can make, and certainly one that would work in real time. Our telephone number, collect that money, says Sandra De Leon Guerrero. Absolutely. I got Patty Babauta Portoto Hernandez online, my friend Lola Calvo and Pam Duvall, et cetera, playing around on the Facebook Live. We were talking earlier about CBDs, and one of the things that Clint Rigel said is the way that they test for THC content over at Customs, and apparently they've got a binary system, and the answer is it's either got THC in it or it doesn't have THC in it. Most CBD products, because it is made from hemp, which is genetically related to marijuana here, is going to have some amount of THC in it. Minuscule though it may be, the systems that they have will test for it and say it's positive, and we're confiscating. Well, that sucks, and I'm not the only one that thinks so. My buddy Romeo Carlos thinks it sucks as well. Hey, bud, how you doing?
Hey, good morning.
Boy, interesting couple of days for all of us in the information game here, information, entertainment, and editorial game. I imagine that the Guam blog blew up yesterday as a result of the overturning of the Tory conviction.
Oh, yeah, my ears were chewed off. I actually stopped by an attorney's office yesterday, on a social visit, and just got a download from the legal community in terms of a few lawyers there. I had a lot to say about it. But, it's really hard in a case like that to try to really find some kind of level ground to stand on, because there are constitutional technicalities that kind of required the decision that was made by the court.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's hard to explain that to people, because it's emotional and very visceral for them. They don't want to get hung up on technicalities and obtuse concepts like that. They want a simple and understandable explanation. And, there's just so much wrong with that case on so many different levels that even if you're trying to be someone who's extending the benefit of the doubt to both the law enforcement officers and to the courts and prosecutors, you can't help but walk away feeling sticky, like you've gotten
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
smart,
it feels like there's something missing here. I don't know where it is, and I'm not sure that I trust what I'm seeing.
Well, like you said, they're just questions that just don't make sense.
Well, and the ultimate tragedy is we'll never, ever, ever know. It was just the two of them at that time.
Yeah, but in terms of just how the whole case was handled, was it in fact handled in such a way so that it would give defense an opportunity to really just eviscerate this case? And Jay Arriola, being the criminal defender in this case, is a good attorney. That's his thing. And he was able to just tear it apart. The whole handle. Was Mark, or was he not, in custody? At the time where the officer, what was his name, Edwards, walked away and assigned another officer to stay by his side. All the cops there knew that he was basically, the intent was he was in custody. But why they never formalized that? Why they stepped out of the basics of their training? And like I said, there's just a whole lot wrong. Troy Torres said it best on Candid News last night. There's just not going to be any justice for Bert. I mean, they signaled that. They made it clear. This guy has not spent one day in jail. Whether or not there are technicalities on which you can skate from taking a human life, there are just moral principles at play here. And you killed this man close up, hands on, and showed little remorse and don't even want to pay any kind of reasonable penalty in terms of time or paying the family monies for their funeral services, restitution. It's the sense of entitlement, the sense of egalitarian corruption just stinks, and it kills faith in the justice system. There are people who don't.
Well, I've almost completely lost faith in the justice system. The way we've got methamphetamine dealers, we've got guys in the Department of Corrections that have been found and accused and basically getting allowed to plea out to a misdemeanor. And as Kenley Guerrero points out, it's possible now that it's only a misdemeanor conviction that they could get their jobs back over at the place. It's just amazing where we're going around here. We've got such big problems, as you and I will talk about. Amongst ourselves and on the air, we got such big problems with crime, methamphetamine, and alcohol abuses tearing this town apart. And we've got the legislature going after a tree. They're going after the Navy on a tree. We're talking about banning balloons. I get it. I don't want the turtles to eat balloons anymore, but we've got bigger problems here right now. Can we get to that after we solve the big problems that are in front of this community now?
Exactly. Where's the commitment to priorities? I mean, where is your brain? People say I'm mean. They tease me that I'm mean, but am I wrong to think, Ray, that we're really dealing with a base level of stupidity in the leadership of this island, that it's really going to impact their ability to do anything meaningful because they just don't know how to establish priorities? They lack the intellectual wherewithal to even get up and running.
I'm trying to figure out how it is that we let the meth guys go, but we're going after people bringing in CBD for the old ladies with fibromyalgia. What the hell is that?
Look at yesterday's front page news. When this Tory decision came down, look at the front page news. We're looking at that, and then we're also looking at the idea of dropping a charge of rape of a pregnant woman against a man because, and then no one explains. I repeatedly asked the Attorney General's office for some basic, simple information. I've been trying to be polite and not call them up because I want to be fair. How many prosecutors do we have?
I have no idea.
How many did you hire since you started this new term? Because I know as many as half of them left because they didn't get a raise like Civil and Solicitors Division did under the last Attorney General. Are they actually shirking their jobs as prosecutors because they want an easier workload and endangering our community? Who is in charge? That's Basil O'Malley, the chief prosecutor, and my understanding is he doesn't even know what the plea deals are that are being struck. He leaves that to the unit heads, and they in turn apparently don't inform him. And then where is our Attorney General in on this? How?
Because I know Basil, I mean, on his cases, he's pretty tough, and he shoots for a conviction. I mean, serious convictions on serious charges and getting serious time. I'm not familiar with him being as lax as others in the department might be. I mean, he's my cousin. Maybe I'll beer summit with that guy soon.
Basil O'Malley?
Yeah, we're all related here.
Well, like I said, but I've got it from attorneys. The guy doesn't get involved day to day with the prosecutor's office in terms of knowing what deals are being struck, how they're playing out.
Well, that's not to cut things short, but I mean that's why we need to see what Ken LG's ideas are about some kind of reform and taking the Attorney General's office, making it sending that back to the governor's office, but having an elected prosecutor in the chair.
Elected prosecutor. I've been saying that for a while. I'm
kind of hoping that's what we elected last time. We'll see.
But something's got to happen. Something's got to give, because bottom line, we cannot say out of one side of our neck as an administration, as a government, that we are supporting and committed to the idea of public safety and being, making that a priority, and then at the other side of the neck have nothing in place to make sure justice is consistently applied through the ranks and following the spirit of the law.
Yeah. Well, I'm
was a way they could have argued this case. The judges could have made a decision that really stuck with the spirit of the law and the intent of what justice is supposed to do. They didn't. And again, it works toward the benefit of people of power, wealth, and connections, and the rest of us simply don't have that.
Watch and see, Romy. Watch and see what happens here if we get to hire another 150 police officers, or whether we're going to hire 150 nose pickers to sit back and watch the fire that is the military buildup. I got to run.
All right, my brother. You be good.
I was good already. I'm gonna be irresponsible and irascible. That's got a whole half hour left. I'll see you pretty soon. We got a beer summit sometime, all right? All right, man.
Hey,
Romeo, you can find him at Blogspot. It's what is it now? What's the URL? Guam Blog? Something. Just go on Facebook and look for Guam Blog. You'll be able to find him there. 888-825-5888-TALK. Bert Johnson from the Trades Academy coming up next. iConnect time is 9:32. Swing by the nearest iConnect and ask them, how are you going to save me money on my mobile and internet plans, and sit back while they tell you.
Get a Coke 12-pack for only $3.49 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a dozen extra-large eggs for only 49 cents when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a case of Circle K water for only $2.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
9:33. My name is Ray, and I took a class on gun safety once upon a time, and had a really, really good time doing it. I had a great instructor. We got to go to the range and pew, pew, pew. That was the most fun I had in an awful long time right up to that point, and I want to do it again. Well, one of the things that made it that much more interesting was it was because I was able to take the class in a room. Thanks very much. guamblog.tumblr.com on the World Wide Web is where you can find Romy and his posts and our editorial contributions that sometimes run parallel to each other. But at any rate, so it was cool taking the gun class because I got to do it at the Trades Academy out on Route 8. I'd seen the building before, but I'd never been inside of it. And I thought, what a great facility this is for people to come in and train on all kinds of things, including trades. But it looks like maybe we've kind of outgrown the spot and need to make another one. My buddy Bert Johnson online. Hey, dude, how you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Not bad. You know, around this time of year, I always think about you and your family and the connection to my family, since older gentlemen, like my great-grandfather and I believe your grandfather were interred at I think interred is the right word, kept prisoner of war in Kobe, Japan together.
Actually, it was Zensuji, Japan.
Where?
Zensuji.
Huh. I always thought they left on the Argentina Maru and were stuck in Kobe. Gee, that's terrible because I had people in Kobe looking for the remains of the prison camp out there. I wanted to visit it and pay my respect to our ancestors once upon a time.
Yeah, it's they moved them around quite a few times, but basically it was in Zensuji is where they finally were at.
A fascinating story, and there were so many people from Guam there, from other places there, and there was a kind of fraternity that came out of it. And there are places where you can go on the web and find some of the last writings of these guys and their recollections of what it was like to be a prisoner of war in Japan during the Second World War.
Yeah, I've actually got about 5 or 6 books written by prisoners of war in the same camp.
Yeah.
As my grandfather. I've got their books. I've got my grandfather's diary. And so it's pretty interesting. I've collected a lot of information about the internment over there. I thought it was only like about a couple dozen people. I was shocked to find there was over 300.
There's a picture that I have, and I can make out my great-grandfather in the shot. It's a picture that he had. It must have been late in the process because he had this long, almost capuchin beard that he grew while he was there.
Actually, that was shot around 1942, and there's actually 4 of those pictures known to exist.
I think Auntie Annie's got a copy of it.
Yeah.
But an interesting picture and an interesting time. I wonder if we were challenged that way. I wonder if our lives were disrupted and challenged and changed that way, how we would react. What would our lot be? Would we make it through that tragedy?
You know, when we talk about like the problems that we're having on Guam, nothing can compare to being in an occupied territory.
Right? Right, yeah. You get the kids go crazy when they can't get a signal on their internet. You don't know what it's like. Well, how about not being able to eat, or anything that you grew was confiscated by the Japanese?
Yeah, well, my dad was 27 when the war broke out. That's the wrong age to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough time. I'm trying to remember how old my grandfather was when hostilities broke out. He already had one baby, lost a bunch during the occupation period. Uncle Jim was born after the war.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Crazy times. And as I said, you know, it's when it gets to be this time of year, we talk about liberation and all of that. There were people from Guam that were not liberated until after Japan had been taken, and finally they were able to come back to Guam. I want to say that my great-grandfather didn't get back until January of 45 or something like that. It took them some time to get everything all bottled up and made to be repatriated home.
Well, when he came back, he had in the bottle an urn with my grandfather's ashes.
Yes. Yeah. That's the other strong connection between our family. It's 9:37. Bert Johnson, I'm sorry, digress. I was talking about, I wanted to get a conversation about how the Trades Academy may have outgrown its current digs. You're looking for something bigger on Teedzin, huh?
Yeah, well, we outgrew it several years ago. And we were fortunate to get a federal grant to build a new school.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're doing it. It's just that, you know, this is what I've learned a long time ago. Free is the most expensive.
Thank you very much. Isn't that a quote from former Governor Guerrero when he was talking about don't get used to federal largesse?
Yeah, well, it could be or paraphrase, but when you have to deal with all the paperwork and the bureaucracies and all the rules and regulations, it's time consuming and expensive.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not like you're a stranger to all that. I mean, you cut through some of that red tape while you were at GWA.
Yeah. You're bringing back some familiar territory, but, I could get another doctorate degree with this stuff.
Yeah. Well, so when do we anticipate getting your hands on the land, start a construction, turning dirt and eventually turning keys?
Well, we've already purchased the land, and it has 2 warehouses on it. Warehouses that are bigger than our current facility right now. The current facility is only 8,000 square feet. We bought 2 10,000 square foot warehouses.
Mm-hmm.
We've got them ready. And we've got an invitation to bid right now to bring a contractor in to renovate them and turn them into the school, like we've done here with this Barragata facility.
Very nice. Very nice.
And, the design's already done. We hired Taniguchi Ruth to do the design work, and that's done. And so the invitation for bid's going out right now.
So not that much longer between now and when students will finally be able to sit in the classrooms.
March 16th next year.
Gotcha. That's worth looking forward to. How much of your plan is going to be of your curriculum is going to be expanding with the expansion of the facilities?
All of it.
All of it.
All of it. We have currently available over 70 different crafts that we can teach if there's a demand for it. We're only doing about half a dozen right now.
Right.
There's curriculum in power generation and power line worker and substation stuff for the energy side. There's curriculum for the maritime side for maritime structural fitters and welders and stuff like that, which we've barely touched. We're doing basically private construction and maintenance right now.
I didn't realize that it was that vast here. Are you working with, Dave Del Sola was on the radio yesterday talking about having access to $462,000 that they're going to be able to press to get people trained and displaced workers trained. People maybe getting a little bit more into an apprenticeship program. Are you going to be able to work with him on that?
We already are. We've already got 4 cohorts of pre-apprentices running. So far, we're starting the 5th one next week. And we're going to continue to plug on this until they tell us to stop.
Nice. So all of the parts in place, it just sounds like you need more students.
Yeah. Well, right now I've got the DOE summer school running right now. We're doing a summer school for DOE high school students, for both public and private students, and they get credit at their high school toward their graduation.
Nice. Okay, that in my mind is one of the more important things is that you get these the credits, but you've got full certification programs as well, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and we like the idea of certification programs. God knows what's going to happen. You are young people; they graduate, they get old, and decide, you know what? I'm going to see what this certification gets me in Seattle. I'm going to see what this certification gets me in San Diego and Diego Garcia, etc. What's that?
Already happening right now.
Oh, I know it. I remember I was last time you and I spent any time together, I was joking with you because we got a whole bunch of these guys from Micronesia and brought them and said, we're going to teach you guys some skills. We're going to teach you some valuable trade lessons. And then you can go to work and send money back to your home islands. And after they got their certification, they were looking around going, you know what? I get more money in the States. So they all split.
That's correct.
And took their certification and all of the training with them, and that's the risk, right? You get an employee and you train him, and he goes to work for somebody else. But the risk is outweighed with what happens when you hire an employee and then don't train him and he stays.
Yeah. The solution is to train them so they can leave, but treat them so they don't want to.
Yeah. Well, that's it's all the way different people run their businesses. What is you've got, like you say, you got different cohorts going pretty much all the time. When is the next time? Is there a semester that people can start looking around for trades academy curriculum that they might want to take, get themselves smarter in the last part of 2019 and make them ready for 2020?
Our goal since we first started was when a student walks into our offices, within 10 days we can get them into a class. We run cycles, not semesters.
Right. Okay. So if I wanted to, as an example, tile, I need to do some tile work. I've got all the tools that I need to chip out the old tile and look at naked concrete, but I don't know what to do after that.
Okay. In that area, you're one of the first people that's asked about it, so we haven't developed that class. But once we've got enough people that are interested, we put the class together and roll.
How about cabinet making, carpentry?
We're doing carpentry right now, not cabinet making. There hasn't been a request for any of the cabinet making classes. But the area for carpentry, we have regular carpentry. We also have a specialty carpentry program called construction craft labor, which is doing the form work, the concrete work, and the rebar work, which is needed out here.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, definitely. I mean, with all the construction that's going on this side of the fence and the demand for that kind of work, concrete work, And frankly, once you learn how to do all of that stuff, I mean, you don't have to build houses. You go work and make concrete patios and all kinds of other little structures out in the back.
Right now, we have 31 high school students that are still in high school in the construction craft labor program.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have a problem with them working over at Black Construction for a year or two before I asked them to come and put together a patio for me.
And that's happening already.
Gotcha. Well, I tell you what, I might not. I've got a couple of things that I need to do at the house that I don't want to do myself. So it might be one of these things where I give you a call after the show and say, "Hey, dude, can you send a couple of your students over to my place and give me a quote?"
Except for they would probably not do that.
No.
For a couple of reasons. Number one, they're still not schooled. A lot of them. And school starts August 13th.
Well, then I won't give them beer. I'll pay them in actual cash.
Yeah. We can. We'll give you some, But we found that basically a lot of them don't do these side products. They're looking for employment, and looking for a contractor that will do that project for you, and they work for them.
I understand. Well, we'll work through it. Dude, I'm going to let you run. It's always a delight talking with you. We'll get together and we'll hash out old family stories. That's always fun. And maybe, share some ideas on where I think things ought to go.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No, it's always my pleasure. Happy liberation to you, Bert. I'll see you pretty soon.
Thank you very much.
All right, buddy. 9:45 in the morning. I think that's a big deal that they're getting so big, outgrown their facilities, and looking for new opportunities. And as the guy says, it's demand driven. A lot of it is demand driven. So if there's enough guys like me that maybe want I don't want to work at Black Construction. I love those guys, but you know what? That's their gig. But if there's enough guys like me, just dads, guys that want to figure out how to lay tile. I think everybody ought to learn how to put some tile down. Great creative process. And just go someplace and say, I walk into a room, how do I do this right? Because you can always tell where somebody hired a guy that just knew how to lay down the thin set butt of the backside of a piece of tile and stick it up and make it stick forever. Everybody's seen those kinds of construction jobs because if you notice, none of the lines match up. You get the lines on the floor, and they don't match up with the lines on the wall of the tiles that are on the wall, and it looks like a terrible job. Or different ways you can tell when they said, I don't want to do as much tile cutting here as I want to do as little as possible, and so they tile a room kind of cockeyed because they wanted to start at the edge as opposed to starting at the middle and probably having to do trim at both sides of it, right? But still in all, it'd be nice if I get just a few ways to do that without having to spend an obscene amount of money on having somebody else do it. Know what I mean? I thought you might. 9:46 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. I've made more than a couple of references today to a conversations that I have been having with friends and relatives and people that are concerned about the crime wave. And I don't mean to exaggerate, but when almost every day comes to us with a story of violence or potential violence as a result of somebody not being able to handle their liquor or having to steal something to go and buy drugs, I would say that we are in the midst of a crime wave here on Guam. And I'm sure if we had an adequate number of guys doing reports and research in the police department, we'd be able to see where those numbers are going up. More and more people reporting problems. There's a lady in Facebook. Was it Facebook? It might be in a newspaper where they left the car in the driveway at the house. God, and I'm guilty of this. The keys to the car were in the purse, which was in the car, and here comes some guy snooping around in the middle of the night, checking the doors. Hey, I found one that's open. Hey, look, there's a purse. Hey, the key to the car is in the purse. Did he steal just the purse? No. He took the whole car. And what is it with car thefts on Guam? I don't get it. It's not like you can drive to Saipan from here. What is with that? Crazy. I needed the car. I needed a ride to the store. That's what I need. So just crazy stories like that. So I'm getting more and more people asking me about what I use for my everyday carry, what I keep around the house, what I might want to consider using when I go hunting, what kind of guns I want to shoot off at New Year's Eve. I'm having more, and I think everybody, because I'm a two-way guy, a Second Amendment. I think everybody has an inalienable right to protect themselves, mostly from the government. But to protect themselves in the event that they believe that harm may come to them. So that's not bad. But that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody should carry a gun.
No, I should not. I will shoot someone.
You're right.
I know it. That's why I don't buy a gun.
Gary Shawno's online says, my car was stolen too. Neats says, thanks to you, Ray, and the GTA Guam Trades Academy, my son, what's that say? Is on his way to get certified after he graduates in 2020. I'm glad to have been part of that conversation. Neat says, stolen. Mine was stolen from the third floor of the ITC building in broad daylight. What the heck? And if they don't steal the car, they'll steal the license plate, So somebody gets robbed over here. You get a telephone call from the police department asking what you're up to because your license plate was seen at the scene of the crime. What the heck is that? But not everybody ought to be carrying a weapon. There's a story from yesterday's magistrate report about a guy around 7 o'clock. Tysopic was dropping his friend Cruz off at her residence in Ordot. Upon arrival, the two noticed a friend of Cruz's, Jeff Messias, at her residence with his Toyota Tacoma. The defendant then approached them and started calling Tysopic out to a fight, after which about 15, 20 minutes proceeded back to his vehicle, came back with a gun, which was placed on top of the bed cover. The defendant continued to argue with Tysopic, then proceeded back to the vehicle, took the pistol, pointed it up in the air. Tysopic then heard and observed the defendant firing one round with the pistol. Then Tysopic and Cruz smartly left the area and reported the incident to the police. Police found this guy, Messias, and said, "What's going on?" He says, "Oh, I was just trying to clear the weapon." What? Just wanted to clear the gun, so he pointed it in the air. And
don't you point it downward to
pull
clear
the trigger?
I mean, I'm no gun expert, but you're really supposed to point down if you're going to clear something. Down and away. Huh? I don't know.
I mean, if you have to discharge it in order to clear it, you shouldn't necessarily have to discharge the weapon in order to clear it.
Maybe that's the part of the rules he didn't read.
Press a button over here, and the little clippy thing slides out of the receiver, and then I pull the slider back, and it will eject whatever's in the pipe.
Sounds simple.
It is simple. So you don't need to, because otherwise I'd be firing my gun off about 4 times a day. Somebody needs to go back to gun safety class. That's all I'm saying. 9 away from the top of the hour. Yes, I'll be right back.
The summer of Jeep, Compass, Cherokee, Wrangler, Cars Plus, and Mighty. Your new adventure starts now. Buy the 2019 Motor Trend SUV of the year and get a new Jeep Wrangler Sport for $268 per paycheck. Or get a new Jeep Compass Sport, only $167 per paycheck. Let them hear you coming in the new 2019 Jeep Cherokee. Buy for $205 per paycheck. And get financing as low as 1.99% on all Jeep models. Come see why you'll be kicking it at Cars Plus in Mighty. Driven by you.
To finish a response, Christina White online saying, "I'm so happy to be able to see and hear you from the U.S. You're a huge part of my childhood. Hit Radio 100 Days, always my favorite DJ." And again, thank you so much. Comments like that really mean a lot to me. It tells me that I've made mostly right decisions in my life and my career path. Here for your childhood, I was there for your childhood, and now I'm here for your adult life.
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased to be able to work with you from the U.S. Just saying.
That would be interesting, huh? Yeah, every once in a while I get that thought in my head about, sometimes I think it'd be cool to live someplace else, but I still want to do the radio show from wherever it is.
We could make about 1/3 of what we're making right now and go live very comfortably in the Philippines.
Yeah, but the show would have to start at 2.
But it's over by 6.
I know what you mean. So we start, but we'd have to wake up. We'd have to wake up about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. The show would start at 4 in Manila, and then we'd be off at 8 Manila time, and then the rest of it's go Cafe Havana all day.
That'd be great.
That would be great.
Day drinking. Every single day.
I don't know what you're waiting for. It's 9:53. Where was I? I was supposed to go somewhere. Is that Tom? There is Tom. Hey, buddy, help me finish the show.
That guy that was cleaning testing his weapon, he did pointed it down, and that's why he hit that guy in the genitals. So,
what? No, nobody got hit in the genitals. No, it is a different case.
Well, at least I heard him singing soprano. He must have been hit down there. He was singing soprano when I heard him.
I love that. I think it's great every once in a while. The caller wants to entertain me. I think that's awesome.
But haven't you ever noticed that all of these thefts and home burglaries had started to rise ever since they legalize the recreational marijuana?
No, get out of here.
Yeah, people want to steal cars so they can sell them for parts so they can use the money to buy marijuana.
They ain't buying marijuana with that. People that are stealing cars and breaking into houses and all of that stuff are not charged up on marijuana. They're stealing so that they can support an ICE habit.
And marijuana.
I doubt it. I think the marijuana is if I've got other money, then I'll might buy me some marijuana with it. But I think primarily their desire is to go out there and get their next big meth hit.
But haven't you ever noticed that the crime rate has increased ever since?
You know why? Because people want to they want to get all their extra money and go out and buy CBD, and that's why the Attorney General's office and Customs are cracking down. They're cracking down on CBD. We got too many people there breaking into cars, home invasion. What do you do? What do you use that money for? Got to buy CBD with it.
About that law, that proposed law, is that law now about the 9 o'clock where you can't buy alcohol after 9? Is that law?
Oh, no. That's just me. That's just me talking out loud. I am of the mind here, and we've got, if you take a look at the magistrate reports, we've got people that have got meth problems for sure, but you take a look at some of these domestic issues there, and I want to say if it's not meth, then it's alcohol. If somebody's had a bad day at work, stopped by, and bought himself a 6-pack, goes home, beats up the wife because he's had a lousy day, and then they just or guys that just keep drinking. They just start drinking and they can go until they stop selling alcohol at the gas station at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I think that those guys there needs to be a limit, and say come in at 9 o'clock and say I want a case of beer, and say we can't sell it to you now. Oh, but I want to drink some more. We'll go to the bar where you're supervised. Where it will cost you more, where you will naturally have to slow down on your consumption of alcohol.
I'm a little bit against the time limit there because of the fact that I would estimate only 10% of the brainless idiots that are violating the law when they get drunk. What about us 90% that are doing good?
Well, look, you and I go and buy my 6-pack when I get on the way home. The rational, responsible drinkers will work around it as they are doing almost everywhere else in the country where they've got it. So where you get holidays, you get Sundays, they don't sell alcohol on Sundays in some places. They don't, it gets to be Friday afternoon at 7 o'clock at night. If you don't have your whiskey and your beer and your wine by then, you got to go to another county and get it.
Yeah, that's a good thing to try.
So people will prepare. Responsible drinkers will know what to do, and be able to accommodate. I think everybody else needs to. We need to put some hard lessons together. And frankly, there's a lot of people that should not have as much alcohol access to the alcohol. I think one of the bigger problems that we have here is the density. There are places where within a 1-mile radius there might be a dozen places. To be able to a half-mile radius, there must be a dozen places to get yourself a cold beer. Just right at the foot of Barragata Heights. I'll give you an example. I mean, just there. There's a couple of places across the street from Barragata Heights. There's a couple of places along the road in Barragata Heights. One of them is a gas station where you can get alcohol. So if one place is out. I've never heard of that. You can literally go across the street and get some more. I'm wondering just how many off-premise licenses we need.
Okay, but before I let you go, about that comment about the increase of crime in the Attorney General's office, I've been telling you before, we need to reinforce the Attorney General's office. They are being overwhelmed with so many cases right now. We need more prosecutors, basically, right now.
Well, here's what's happening, Tom. I don't disagree with you, but what I think happens is because we're getting minor league convictions, I'll bet we find ourselves prosecuting the same guys over and over and over again, and because it's easy to get them to plead guilty to a misdemeanor charge or a lesser charge, and then they get out and then they commit crimes again. So maybe the efficient use of our prosecutors and the prosecuting attorneys around there are to get them to go after more serious convictions on these serious charges, so that we can prosecute new guys instead of the same guys that they've been arrested 17 times before.
All right, buddy, I gotta let you go. We're out of time. Nice talking to you.
You know what, buddy? Thanks, Tom. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, the radio station. Look at this guy's looking at his clock. He knows when the music's starting to play. All right, the radio station is KUSG. What did I say at the beginning of this hour? Was this not the fastest show on record? Did it just start and now it's over? Huh. What will we talk about tomorrow? I have no idea. We'll find out at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Join me and Kevin Kerrigan and Michael Knight and Blake Watson, and who knows who else is going to be on the radio with me tomorrow. Stand by. Fox News Live is coming up next.
In court, I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The legal battle over the Affordable Care Act continues, with a federal court in New Orleans now considering whether it can be repealed.
The plaintiffs' lawyers maintain that the ACA hurts more than it actually helps, asserting that the law caused many people's health insurance premiums to skyrocket. Many folks could not keep their doctors as promised, and a lot of the debate has also been centered around this individual mandate, arguing before the court it is just another tax, since Americans were forced to pay a financial penalty for not carrying coverage, adding it is the government overstepping its bounds.
Fox's Casey Stiegel, a decision not expected for a couple months. In a blow to the Trump administration, a judge ruling the Justice Department can't change lawyers in the dispute